Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ella Johnson Show. Listen, I am so excited about tonight's broadcast. I want to welcome every single one of you. If you are watching from Facebook, thank you so much. Thank you. I just need you to do me a favor. Tonight, I need you to share like your life depends on it, because it does, right? Share. Just tag everyone that you know. Just tag it to your timelines right now. If you're watching from YouTube, do me a favor. Since you're already there, subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I love your support. I want you guys to go ahead and invest in those stars that you see there tonight. I am excited about this broadcast. Let me tell you guys, tonight, we're going to talk to the heart of the community. And I'm talking about the Monroeville community. We're going to talk to your heart tonight. All right. I want you guys to remember this. The young man that we're talking about tonight, Tunstall, his life was cut short, 35 years old. And we saw the video. We saw how he died. We saw how they dragged him like it was the most inhumane thing we've seen in a while. No one deserves that. No one. I don't care what they may or may not have done in their life. No one deserves to be treated that way. Okay. Now, the Bible that I read tells me and reminds me that we are to always speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves. And I want to appeal to all of you that are Christians that feel like this is so far removed for you, that this isn't something you want to get involved with. Well, I'm reading the same Bible. And that Bible tells me that it's good to always side with your neighbors. Love your neighbors. It's an action word. And this is how we do it. We speak up for those who can't speak up for themselves. We make sure that they are left with dignity. Okay? Because everybody deserves that. That's why we're here. We're speaking up for T. Now, we are looking at the family's grief. They're still grieving. The family is still grieving. If you guys are watching, Sharon and Josephine and Daisha and all of the family members that I've been in touch with, I just want to let you guys know that this show is dedicated to you. The Ella Johnson Show will remain committed to you because this is just how we show our love. So tonight, I want everybody to be involved in this conversation. I want you to leave your comments. I want you to ask questions of my guest. My guest is amazing. I can't wait for you guys to meet him. But he's going to be back with us right after this little short break. So I'm giving you guys an opportunity to go ahead and get your snacks or whatever, tag, share, whatever you need to do. And when we come back after this short video, you're going to get a chance to meet my guests for tonight. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. It's time for the Ella Johnson Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show, where there are two sides to every story. Enjoy the broadcast. Stay tuned. Hello, everyone, and we're back. Listen, if you are just tuning in, I told you we have a powerful show tonight. You want to stick around. This is not the night to go to bed early, I'm telling you. You want to stick around and get this live conversation, right, Stephan? Yes.
How are you?
I am wonderful. I am so excited that you decided to be my guest tonight. I want to jump right in because I want people to know who you are and where you came from, how you ended up in Monroeville. I just want to hear all about you. Tell us about Stephan.
Stephan.
That's right.
More real than Vanilla Ice. Well, I'm a transplant. I'm from Chicago. I've lived all over the country. I've predominantly lived out west. And we had some issues up north with my ex-wife's mother and a rape and molestation case from her stepdad, and we came down here to get away from her mother because her mother was creating a lot of problems pre-trial. If you could guess, the mother decided to take the husband's side, even after hearing a tape of him admitting it. But that's neither here nor there. So we came down here, and a lot of things in that trial happened. And my ex-wife decided that she kidnapped my daughter and went back up north to her mother, and I stayed here. And I went back and forth, from here to Chicago, trying to fight for my rights for my daughter. And we can get into all that in another time. I wound up fixing computers and selling cable and internet and telecommunication services door to door. I got to be in probably the majority of our viewers' homes with their grandchildren and their mothers and their fathers. I really got to know the community by doing door-to-door sales and then fixing computers. There's a computer guy here in town that just stole people's parts off their computer and wouldn't fix it right. And I believe in honest business. So, of course, I put him out of business. And from there, I've been here for almost 20 years.
All right. Well, that's good. And I know that you have some experience with the law. Tell us about that, your legal background.
Well, I wanted to get into college. I got in some trouble in Illinois, and I was going to go to college to be a lawyer. So I kind of gravitate to the law as it is anyways. I have my own law books. I've always self-educated myself in law, constitutional law. I'm a diehard constitutionalist. Don't tread on me. We're all free. We're all free men. And I was renting the side of this home, and the mayor's brother, Mike Kennedy, which was our mayor at that time, his brother-in-law, homosexual, whatever. I mean, do whatever the hell he wants, as long as it ain't convenient. He was, looking at the apartment, and I let him inside to sit down. It was really hot. And he went inside my son's room, pulled out his thing, and went sexually gratifying himself in front of my 4-year-old son. And, well, if you could probably guess, that ended really, really badly for him. And the police the Monroeville Police Department didn't want to arrest him. They dragged him out of my home, half naked, tied up like a hog, because he wouldn't stop. And I, as you could probably guess, made a really big fuss about it. I forced charges against him, and the morning of his court date, we were going to go to trial and testify against him to what he did to our kid. He was looking at some extremely serious charges. Alfred Carter, Mandy Armstrong, and Tom Tate kicked in my front door an hour and 30 minutes before court was going to start, and ransacked my home, put us in the newspaper that we are the largest synthetic cannabis dealers in Monroe County. The law just took effect within them 24 hours. I was the first warrant issued in the state of Alabama for a no-knock warrant to kick my door in for synthetic cannabis, which, well, I don't do that stuff, and there was none in my home. Every single thing in my home was illegal. They did not find not one thing illegal in my home. All right, but they put me and my wife in jail. All right, kept us in jail on fake charges. They had zero evidence for nothing, and held us in jail for a year. from there, I got to meet so many of the people in our community that were being set up, that were being hurt, that were in trouble, and their attorneys are lying to them to give them more time than what they deserved. And I had all my law books shipped into the jail. I ran a legal clinic out of my cell block. I mean, I was shooting kites all around the county jail. I mean, if you came in there and you wanted to know the truth and you wanted to look up your case, you wanted to know what was happening to you, you came to me. And then from there, I waged war against the DA's office, Mike and Tom Tate and Alfred Carter. And I told them, for every day that you're going to keep me and my wife in here, I'm going to set 2, 3, 4 free. I don't care if they got a traffic ticket in another jurisdiction. They're leaving here. You're not going to get the money for them being in this jail. If there's someone in here that's messed up, I'm going to set them free. And then from that whole year of me doing that, and then as the years progressed, I ended up having to go to the Capitol and with a Kinko's box full of all my investigations on all these people. And I started a series of investigations on Alfred Carter and Tom Tate. That's the whole reason why Tom Tate had to resign, because of me. And that's the reason. And that opened the door for Boatwright to run for election. And of course, I campaigned. I mean, I'm not affiliated with Boatwright by any means, but I appreciated his police work. I thought that he would have been a good person for our community. And here we are. We got all of our problems in the county pretty much dissolved right then and there. But then all the problems left from the county sheriff's office and went directly to the Monroeville Police Department. So sure, I skinned the cat over here and the fur flew over there.
Okay. So it sounds like you've had your Tom Tate, you've had issues, and based on our conversation, like you've been very involved there. They know who you are in Monroeville.
Very much so. How you doing, guys? Hope you're looking.
Yeah, but it hasn't been easy for you though, Stephan. Like you have dealt with, tell us about some of the blowback that you've received from who you are and what you've been doing there.
Oh, I've been stalked. My inheritance that I inherited with my will was destroyed. My homes were stolen. I mean, one of the attorneys I had in one of my cases bought one of my homes while they were trying to set me up and send me in jail. I've been stalked. I've been in police chases. I mean, I've told all of my police constituents that I know well, look, if one of these other cats go to pull me over, I'm not pulling over until I am in front of a camera, a convenience store. I'm coming to the sheriff's office. I'm not stopping for them. All right. I 100% believe my life was in danger. I mean, Alfred Carter used to park out down the street from my house, show up over at my place of business, would show up over where I work for certain people. He literally stalked me all over town. And if you go to one of my YouTube videos, the very last thing he did as an officer was charge me with harassing communications because I left him a voicemail asking him to please stop stalking me, stop stalking my family, stop chasing us, stop doing all the things you're doing, or I'm going to go to the feds. I ended up going to the feds. And, well, Alfred Carter doesn't have a badge, and he can't even work at Toys R Us if he wanted to. Good job, Alfred.
Right. So
I told you, Alfred, that I'd take your badge, and I got it.
Yeah. There's another thing that I thought was interesting too, Stephan. You were an integral part in the task force not being able to exist in Monroeville. Tell everybody about that. What happened with that?
Well, that boils down to when they kicked our door in under the guide by task force. Task force jurisdiction agency, Mandy Armstrong, Tom Tate, and Alfred Carter, they used their task force powers to try to set me up for the mayor. Well, we had an influential person in town. His name was Steve Stacy, and he sent a blast to all of our representatives, all of our senators, every single person in America that you can imagine got a full dossier of what they just did to my family. Now, keep in mind, previously before that, task force headquarters was broke into, and all their guns, all their ammo, all their dope that they confiscated, all their money, everything in that building was ransacked and stolen. No one to this day has still ever been arrested for it. See, Alfred Carter and Drug Task Force they kept stealing people's drugs, all right? And instead of arresting them for that ounce of cocaine, that cookie of crack, and the guns that they have, well, they would only charge them with a little bit, and they would go back to the Department of Justice and say, oh, look, I got a gun, and oh, I got a gram of dope. Well, the Department of Justice, started telling Alfred Carter and Tom Tate, look, man, we're not giving you $4 million a year for you to bring low-level offenders into our courtroom. If you're going to have this contract, we want weight, we want dealers, we want kingpins, all right, the Tony Montanas of your area. Well, when you're Tom Tate and you're fueling the dope epidemic, all right, and you're running dope on the side yourself, do you think that you're ever going to go ahead and do your actual job? And then they kicked in my door. I was the last door they kicked in.
So the task force is done.
Done.
Wow.
Now the sheriff's real quick. The sheriff's office operates their own version of task force. They work with task force that's operated, I believe, out of Wilcox is running the contract, or Dallas County. But as far as Monroe County controlling that task force contract, no. Do some of our officers here work alongside with task force that's being ran out of Dallas/Wilcox County? Yes.
Okay. Let me ask you a question though, Stephan. Are you worried about doing this show and them seeing this and coming after you for what you say tonight?
Of course I am. But I'm a freeman. I was born in the United States with a flag on my back that says America.
Freedom of speech, right?
Freedom of speech shall not be infringed.
That's right. Well, the reason I brought you here tonight, because you and I have been talking for about 2 weeks now about T. Tunstall. And I've seen a lot of your posts. I've seen a lot of your responses to posts. And let me tell you, they're a little bit out there because you make some claims that no one else makes. So I want to definitely, because the conversation about T. Tunstall must go on. We got to talk about it tonight. I know that's why people have tuned in, because they want to hear about T. Tunstall and your perspective on it. But I want to start by talking about, I want to get your initial reaction to the video. Just tell me what you felt when you saw the video, just what you felt.
It reminded me of what they did to me when they tracked me out of my home at gunpoint. It was despicable. It was probably some of the most nastiest things I've seen. And I watch a lot of YouTube, and I watch, police reports and things from around the country, police brutality and certain things. And forgive me, it brings up some emotion,
I bet.
But how they treated that man was so outside the purview of OSPR standard operating procedures that you can't hold a 10-foot pole to it. It was disgusting and despicable.
I want to talk about, because obviously something like this, the media immediately got involved, and there are a couple of comments that I saw that I really wanted us to talk about, and one of them was from the woman who filmed that video, and she didn't want to be seen on film. But I noted here that a woman who filmed the arrest said she saw Tunstall being chased by the officers into a wooded area, and he looked like he was about to faint. I heard him yelling in the bushes. The witness, who wishes to remain anonymous, said he was yelling and screaming. He was literally crying for help. Now, let's address that. You've seen Mandy's statement. I've seen Mandy's statement. She said he was arrested without incident. What in the world can you think? Because we believe the witness. We believe that the witness did hear what she
We saw the video. I mean, video, and it's a pretty in-depth, long video. It's not just like a clip, a little quick, snapshot, there's some real substance and texture, and background of seeing the entire video. And one of the problems is, for an officer, and I have some officer friends, and I support my law enforcement, the good ones, not the bad ones. As soon as they started dragging this man out the woods, he was already dehydrated. He was already stumbling. And we don't know if he tased them or if they didn't tase him, But if they did tase him, they already violated themselves by not checking his vitals. You got to think, if you go and run from, go ahead and run. You're going to get winded. You get worked up. It's hot, all right, especially down here. So why you as an officer wouldn't do your job and take them 5 minutes, check your pulse, get the blood pressure cuff out the back of the car, check the man's vitals, look inside his pupils. You got to keep in mind, as an officer, we know that there's bad drugs running around. We know that there's a drug epidemic around the whole entire country. All right. We don't know if you're on drugs. We don't know if you're not on drugs. But as an officer in a standard operating procedure, you need to take your due diligence and look at the suspect, all right, or the person you're apprehending, and double check and make sure and see, are you okay? All right. Do you need help? I mean, you're going to jail, but are you hurt? None of that happened. Zero of that happened. And the fact to take the man, drag him with his bare feet into that rough concrete, and look down over in the bottom in Clausel, man, that asphalt's rough. It's like a cheese grater. It ain't smooth. All right, to drag his feet, all right, across a hot parking lot, all right, damn near a block, and then heave home face down into a car. I don't know. And in any world or fashion, especially in the United States, that's okay.
Right. So, listen, that's my sentiment exactly. Now, he was seen coming out of the woods. This is another eyewitness. They saw him coming out of the woods. He's saying he can't breathe. He's asking for water.
Correct.
Now, is it possible, because this is all alleged, we don't know the results. Is it possible that pepper spraying someone and tasing someone can cause them to say they can't breathe or need water?
100%. That's why, in order to have a taser, they tase these cops. All right, they have to feel it. They have to know the experience of what it is to be tased. All right, number one. Number two, all right, anytime you deploy a taser, these officers are supposed to be trained that it is a semi-lethal form of incapacitating somebody. It can create defibrillations in your heart. All right. It can create arrhythmia. All right. You can literally go into shock. All right. Right after being tased. That's why whenever you deploy a taser, that's again, if a taser was deployed. All right. Right. They need to ask you and look at your pupils, make sure they're not super dilated and you're going into shock. They have to inspect you. Are you okay? All right. Are you all right? Nah, boss, man. Or whatever. They're going to call EMS. They're going to get you checked out and verify and make sure that taser isn't otherwise creating a serious medical condition of arrhythmia or defibrillation in your heart. It could literally put you into shock. And if you watch the video, even if he was tased, I don't see that they tried to offer him any type of assistance. Check his pulse, check his blood pressure, or even bare minimum, offer him a damn bottle of water.
Right. So let me ask you a question, because I understand, and this is all alleged, there were taser burns on his body, from what I understand. Now, there are two types of ways you deploy the taser. One, you do it at a distance and it
Correct.
Creates these prongs, right?
Yep.
That has to be taken out at the hospital.
Yep.
Or you put it directly on the skin, which is directly going into their heart, and it's causing instant damage.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let's pretend they did do the dry tase, that they actually did put it directly on his skin. What could something like that have done?
This is statistically proven. There's so many cases of it. There's been so many people that have been tased and immediately went into arrhythmia. They went into shock. They had heart palpitations, and a lot of them across the country. That's why there's a really large debate across America in law enforcement. Should tasers still be able to be allowed in use, all right, as a non-lethal form to subdue a suspect? All right. And what will be the threshold? Do we need to set a new threshold to how and when we're going to deploy a taser? Is there going to have to be some type of, well, does he have a weapon? Is he violent? Is this person fighting back? All right. That's where these questions are starting to get asked in law enforcement circles around the country. And from the AACP, being tased can kill you.
Being tased can kill you. Now, what does the 14th Amendment say about the duty to care? Because I know in the 14th Amendment, people have a right to duty to care. Even if you're a suspect, even if you were chased, no matter what, that is our constitutional right, yes?
Correct. That is an amendment inalienable right. And in duty to care is whether you're, a soldier operating on U.S. soil for assistance, one of our federal forces, if you're an officer, a correctionals officer, a DOC correctionals officer, if you have in your duties, you have to make sure that in the performance of your duty, that you are not going to create indifference to life and health and public safety of the individual and the individuals around them, all right, by your actions. So with that being said, all right, these officers are held to an extremely higher standard than what we are as a civilian. Even though that someone may have broke the law or they may have made a mistake, they did something stupid, they got on that alcohol, and they just wilded out. That doesn't mean that they're not human. You are ordered, and by the oaths that you sign into the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, is to not have an indifference of life. You have to make sure that that person is safe while inside your custody and you're handling them.
Now, we saw Mandy's statement. She said that T was arrested without incident. First of all, what does arrested without incident mean when you hear
Okay.
that?
Well, being arrested without incidents which I've had several. Hey, well, you're going to jail. You got a warrant for this. Okay, no problem. Turn around. Here you go. Let's go. That would be being arrested without incidents. Now, if you go and fight the cops, all right, that's an incident, and it needs to have an incident report. All right. If you have to deploy your taser, deploy your pepper spray, that is an incident that is going to require an incident report. You can't say at all, zero, all right, that this case, this arrest happened without incident. You have a suspect that was afraid, he was scared, he took off and he ran. He gave up. He didn't fight the cops. He didn't try to create any acts of violence. He was just worried. I mean, shoot, I ran from the cops. I mean, look, man, who wants to go to jail, especially on some baby mama drama? I mean, I can't fault the guy, but does that mean that he had to die for it? That's an incident. That's the definition of incident. A man died in their custody while they tried to dump his dying body onto the sheriff's office. All right, that I would say is an extremely large incident.
So why did she say it was without? She didn't want the paperwork? Is that what you think?
Well, you got to keep in mind, if they've been warned, all right, which we'll get into later, they've been warned, about certain things in the policies and the SOPs that they deploy, all right, out of the MPD. It was only inevitable until someone died in their custody. It wasn't a matter of an if, it was a matter of when, all right? So that when just happened. Oh, if I'm the chief of police and I'm Mandy Armstrong, man, I would try to downplay the paperwork and the public, announcements to a minimal, because you want to know what? Now I got to cover my ass. I got to figure out what I got to do to make sure that I and my officers aren't going to go down for this. What happened to George Floyd is about what's going to happen to Mandy and her officers. Yeah, I would be really worried.
How so?
Do you want to talk about the insurance? Is that what we're getting to, or?
Yeah, let's go there.
All right. Well, when you as a municipality, all right, do not have health insurance and catastrophic insurance for the people that you are going to arrest and that you are going to put into your custody, like the sheriff's office does, the county jail has, and you're running around and taking people into your jurisdiction, into your custody, you need to have insurance. Because guess what happens when you don't have insurance? You're going to try to avoid medical complications. You're going to avoid medical situations, because you know that if you have a medical situation in your custody, in your jurisdiction, you are going to have to pay for it. But if you don't have insurance, what do?
So how can the city get away with not having insurance?
Well, there's a small, very thin loophole, all right, in the state of Alabama, and the small municipalities, all right, that are not going to have people arrested and kept long term, can operate without casualty insurance and hazard insurance, all right, and have a form of medical insurance. That's where county jails and sheriff's departments that operate those county jails, they always have insurance. Well, the problem is Monroeville at one point in time, even just back 20 years ago, was a lot smaller. There wasn't as much happening. We had a county jail that was just built, and most of our problems were able to handle fairly quickly. Well, we're gotten in and progressed where the city started from this size of their jurisdiction, and they grew as these businesses moved into town. Walmart. You got to keep in mind, Monroeville city limits was just short past the Piggly Wiggly. I mean, we're talking about like maybe a 2-3 square mile area. It was a very small municipality. Well, over these last 20 years, the municipality in square size has grown exponentially. That has brought more police work. That has brought a more contact with the public. Well, they know that they do have to arrest people for long-term stays. If I'm arrested and I get charged for, a serious offense until I'm indicted, all right, by a jury of my peers, my custody is still of the jurisdiction of Monroe Police Department, Monroeville City. My custody doesn't change until I'm indicted and I'm put in the circuit court. So in between that time frame, which could be a while, because we know that everything around here moves really slow. But what I'm getting to is that the council and the city has known that as they have grown exponentially, that they are creating an issue and indifference to the public and public health. Because the more land that you open up into your jurisdiction, the more people you're going to open yourself up to as a jurisdiction. So by not having that insurance, all right, because you're playing that one horse town deal, all right, and trying to skate under the radar and not have the insurance, that's what they're doing. They have been told so many times in back rooms and privately and at different sessions, hey, you guys really need to make a charter, all right, with the sheriffs and the county so that you can have medical insurance for your officers when they're apprehending people into your custody and you're going to place them into the jurisdiction of the jail. See, the council never wanted to do that. They don't want to spend any other extra money. That's why they sold the water company. They used to operate the water company. There used to be a municipal water company that was owned by the public. Well, it got sold to a private entity. They don't want to deal with the hassle. We'll just collect that tax money. We'll collect the fees. Now, then we don't have to worry about anything that goes on with the water anymore. It's up to them. And we just benefit from the taxes. Now it's the same thing getting with the insurance. They know that if they have to sign a charter, well, now they're signing an agreement. That's a cross-jurisdictional agreement, all right? I mean, we're talking about getting back into the days of Magna Carta. We still here in the United States, we have separate jurisdictions, all right? Those separate jurisdictions have their own authorities. Well, in order for the Monroeville Police Department / city to be able to get an insurance policy at a discount, they would have to sign a charter. They would have to bind themselves to the sheriff's office and take part in the payments on the premiums of said policy. But do you think this council is going to want to put any money else they can? No, they're going to roll the dice and keep letting it ride. They thought that, hey, well, anytime something bad happens here, we just set them up or sweep it underneath the carpet. And that's why you get Mandy saying they arrested somebody without incident. That's part of the sweep up job.
Wow. Now, those are some pretty interesting claims you're making. So you're telling me then, let's tie it back to T. So you're telling me that the reason T ended up at the jail instead of the hospital, because this is one of the questions I had this week, right, Stephan? Why is it then that he ended up at the jail? Are you saying that it's because of money?
Yes, 100%. 100% money and greed. and don't want to give up any of their little power that they have.
So
That they were to,
so you're
if
telling
they,
me, because everybody could see that he had a medical need. We could all see
yes,
it. We know
100%.
they had to see it too.
100%.
So are they trained to just disregard medical needs? Because that's in their policy, and I'm sure that's against policies of APOSTC.
100%. See, and that's why it's a secret policy. All right, their whole motto, all right, unwritten, that they are trained in is, hey, if someone's having a medical emergency or a medical problem that you're dealing with, call the hospital, let the hospital pick them up, let EMS services pick them up. Do not take custody of them. That goes back to that whole Magna Carta thing and jurisdictions in custody. When you take a person's corpus, all right, and then take custody of it, you now are in control of every single function that happens with that person's being, all right, from their water, their food, their health, their dental, all right, their medical emergencies. So if the way they do it is if they're going to arrest somebody, let's say for a minor offense, and they're having a medical problem, they'll call the hospital, let EMS services pick them up, and they won't even touch them. All right, they'll wait for them to get discharged from the hospital. You know, they may do a ride-along if the person's, you know, being unruly, but in general, the police here, all right, have been told, do not create medical bills. We do not have insurance. So avoid medical situations as much as you possibly can.
That opens the city up for a huge liability lawsuit.
Yeah, and that's where the city thinks that they're going to go ahead and try to use qualified immunity to shield themselves from what these officers did. All right. But when you're creating a speakeasy, quiet, all right, unwritten policy that you're beating into these officers to avoid medical situations, all right, man, it's just like a soldier or on the battlefield or a police officer. You have a standard operating procedure. You are trained. It's beat into your skull. So now, as you're out in the public and you're patrolling and you're doing your job, all right, you have your training built into you. So if you, so let's say, retrospectively, you had insurance and you knew that you could at any time dispatch medical services to someone you take into your custody, all right, you would feel free. Hey, are you all right, homie? Nah, boss, man, I'm messed up. I don't know what's wrong, man. My heart's beating real bad. Man, bro, I'm going to call the hospital for you, okay? Get you checked out, all right? And once you get checked out and you're okay, you got to go to jail. Man, I appreciate it, man. I don't know what's the matter. But you see, when you have training that dictates the opposite of that, you get Tunstall.
So that day, let's talk about that day. We're going to answer a question in a second, Kim. That particular day, do you believe that those officers, when they got in that vehicle, because they're saying that, you know, the mayor even thinks that he walked in that vehicle, like he got into the vehicle. We saw the video.
He did not get in the vehicle. He was heaved into the vehicle like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, exactly. Face down, according to the witness. Yep. So when we get to a situation like this, do you think that they actually called Mandy and said, "Hey, what are we doing with this guy? He's really out of it"?
Absolutely, 100%. You could not. How could you? How could you not? I would love to see the call and cell phone records that the feds pull on these people. There's no way that you could be an officer when you already know, hey man, try to avoid medical situations. Oh crap, there's a guy in my back seat face down, man, it ain't moving. Yo, Mandy, this guy ain't moving. What do you want me to do? Man, this is just an opinion, all right? This is just satirical. Take him over to the jail. If you get him moving around, you know, jostle him up, get him in a jail, book him. He's got a county hold. He got a county warrant for probation violation. All right. So if they could get him into the jail onto that ground and release that custody, okay? Because remember, they're picking him up for a county hold, not because they want him. If they could get him into that jail and let go of him, anything that happens to him is now going to fall on Sheriff Boatwright into jail. They're going to have to pick up the medical tab. That's the whole reason why they, instead of going directly to the hospital or, hey, normal standing operator procedures, when you got a lifeless person that's barely moving, all right, you would think, hey, I'm going to dispatch EMS services to the scene right then and there and now. But hey, you got him in your custody. So if you do that, going to have to pay the medical bill. So what do? You try to play a fast one. Instead of you wasted the last few moments and minutes that this man had a chance to live. He could have turned his whole life around. He could be here right with us right now. But no, they stole that from him. All over a nickel because they don't have insurance. They literally just tried to take a dying man and drop him and dump him into the dungeon and split.
Ooh. I'm painting a picture of that. And you told me that whenever the way it works, when someone makes it to that jail, they go down the Sally Port, and you suspect that the people at the jail saw them dragging his body and they shut the door on him. I mean, how does that work when you get to the jail? Did he walk in? Did he make it inside? Like, what do you think happened that day?
Well, from what I've heard on from flies on a wall, so to speak, they got into the Sally Port and they started dragging him out of the truck. And the jail staff saw that they were literally taking a lifeless person and dragging them out of the car. And they could tell immediately that he needed medical attention staff. And they told them, no, man, you're not bringing this guy in here. You need to call the hospital immediately, right now, and get this guy life-saving care now. Not tomorrow, not 5 minutes from now. And they denied entry to him, from what I've been told.
So why didn't the police just take him to the hospital? Why did they then? So you're telling me they sat there in the car and waited for EMS to come to the jail?
Sure did.
Now,
just wasted more time.
Exactly. So if I were to tell you that I was told that when he made it to that jail, he was already dead, would you believe that?
I totally would. And the reason why is that I have hypertension stage 2. All right. I border from hypertension 2 to 3. All right. I have to really watch exactly how strenuously I push myself and my stress and my aggravation. All right. We don't know what this man's previous medical condition could have been. I'm just speaking on myself. All right. With how I am in hypertension 2, borderline 3, if I just ran, all right, several hundred yards, all right, at a full sprint, and I'm getting fat, all right, I put some weight on. All right, I know everyone that's got to know me here for a long time, they've been telling, damn, Steve, you get fat. All right. I'm telling you right now, my heart would be beating at 135, 40 beats a minute. I would be literally, my chest would be bound up, and I would be feeling like I'm having a heart attack. All right. So what I'm getting to with that is that, listen, any type of strenuous behavior that you put yourself in, I mean, they got a hold of the guy. He obviously was having a problem. All right. You'd think you could at least, man, set him down on the curb and get him some water, check his pulse, yes. check his blood pressure, see what's going on with him. Because if you really were here to serve and protect, all right, and you had a inference to life, not an indifference to life, all right, you would have made sure that this guy was going to be okay in your custody. You would have made sure that his heart was beating the way that it should, that his pupils aren't super dilated, that he wasn't being in shock. You got to keep in mind the dude was scared too. Mental, kicks in too. You got your whole mind swirling in around you. You're like, crap, man, I might go back to jail. I might go back to prison. Oh my God, what's going on? And then I'm winded. I'm beat up. Shoot. If I was an officer, I'd be like, bro, man, you need some water, man. Let me check your pulse, man. Let me check you out real quick. Have you done anything? Are you on any form of narcotics? None of that happened. This is a complete, goes against every operating procedure that an officer is trained to in America. And it's evident. If we didn't have the video to see what happened, we would just be all chicken scratching at the fence post.
Yeah. So this Narcan, let's talk about that. So then did the MPD administer? So in other words, the sheriff, they didn't do anything. He never made it across the threshold of the jail. So
Correct.
They didn't do any medical assisting to him at all.
That I don't know. I can't say that. All right. I mean, I really don't. The only thing that I know that I've been told is that, the jailer saw that he was unresponsive and they were trying to drag him out the car. So they denied entry to him and told him to call the hospital immediately. At which point around in that time, we do know is when the Narcan was administered. But that's where we got to back up to the whole scene when they were pulling him out the woods. If they would have done their job and checked his pupils, checked his heart rate, checked his blood pressure, and asked him, hey, bro, have you done anything? All right, we need to know, man, because if you did, your heart rate's up, you're sweating, you just got done running. Like, for instance, let's say you go ahead and you did some meth or you did some cocaine, or fentanyl or whatever it is your habit is. Man, typically you're sitting down, you're chilling, you're not moving around too much. As soon as you go and take a stimulant and you go and do a full sprint, all right, and really work yourself up, you could have a high probability to actually put yourself into an asphyxiated overdose state. And the problem is that when the officers saw that he was, well, we seen the video, he didn't look good. They needed to go ahead and administer Narcan to him then, at that moment, not waste all that damn time, all right, trying to freaking take him to the damn jail and dump him on them. All right, if they would have just did their due diligence, all right, did their jobs, all right, had their duty to protect, and actually took that one moment, it would have been real easy. You already had him in cuffs. Instead of dragging him like a damn dog, you could have backed the dang Tahoe up to where he was, sat him down on the curb, checked his vitals, and saw if he was on something. Because then they could have administered Narcan then, right then and there. The minutes that they wasted of dragging him, getting him into the car, wasting their time to slowly pull off, and then meander and work their way to the man. We're talking about minutes now. All right. That man could have stopped breathing, asphyxiated. All right. His brain's dying. By the time that they could get the Narcan into him, his heart was barely pumping. That Narcan's got to start working itself in.
Yes.
All right. If he's already in such a dilapidated, unresponsive state where his heart is barely beating, Narcan's not going to help you. You need to get a defibrillator. You need to get a defibrillator on scene, and you need to zap him. You got to get that heart back beating, because if we don't have no oxygen in our blood going to our brain, we're going to go into brain death. But that's again where in standard operating procedures in medical, they train these cops this shit.
Should we file a complaint against these officers?
100%, 110%, 1,000. I can't believe that they're still allowed to be running around the street right now until this investigation is done. That alone is a problem.
So let's talk about that. Isn't it typically the chief of police's decision to have officers come back, or
Yes.
is that the mayor?
It's both.
Both.
The mayor is the chief's boss. I mean, the chief can recommend to the mayor, hey, these are my officers. I need to keep them on leave. Let's finish the investigation. Let's get these guys cleared through SBI. All right. And then let them come back if they can come back. Because the problem that we have here is that the investigation isn't done. All right. We don't know. We're operating on the feelings of a 77-year-old man that just had a stroke and almost died, that is deficient in his functions as a sitting mayor. All right. Just fresh back to work, had a stroke. How can he make the right decision? One, he's got his own freaking medical problems going on inside his brain. All right. He's a senior citizen, not like, that's necessarily too big of a deal, but the man is very well quite in age. I'm not trying to just crap on, Charles Andrews for that. I feel bad that, he had a stroke. Don't get me wrong. I don't wish a stroke on anybody, but the fact of the matter is he did. All right. Can we, as the population, believe that this man that just had a serious brain injury, all right, can still operate and make the correct decisions for the municipality and the people that live in it? I would say no. Now, I don't believe that these officers should have been allowed back on duty. We needed to have SBI turn everything over to the DAs and everybody come to an agreement. No, these officers did do everything that they should have. They're clear. This was just an accident. Then they go back to work. But, well, thank God we got the video, because we could see it was the complete opposite of that. I'll say this much. I'll be very highly surprised, even in Monroeville, with the stigma and all the cover-ups and the setups and the murders and everything that's happened here that these people have done to us. This particular instance, mark my words, could very well be the one case that blows all of it open. Yes. I don't see how they can cover this one up. Thank God we all got phones now.
Hey, listen, we got a question. We got a question on the table.
What we got?
Question is, if what is being explained is true, couldn't the city be sued for wrongful death?
110%. That's where my whole thesis, my whole thesis of what I'm getting to. See, and what we have is a term called qualified immunity. All right, definitely more training for a law enforcement in the state at 110%. A lot of these guys are yahoos, man. I mean, they grew up in the cow patty, and they're like, hey, yo, I'm the chief now, man. You're my friend. You want a gun and a badge? I'll give you a cop car. All right. What we have is called qualified immunity. All right. Yeah. And what that is for a jurisdiction in a municipality. If an officer hurts someone, let's say beats a guy up, all right, he just lost, he had a bad day, and he just pummels the guy. Now, that individual can sue that cop, all right, for hurting him. He broke his bones or whatever. He was outside operating procedure. You can't sue the whole city. But if you can prove that, oh, well, this guy's got a lot of bad track records of hurting people and assaults, and then you as the chief of police or the mayor allow this individual to stay on force, now you are making a decision as the entire jurisdiction to create a danger to the public. That erases qualified immunity. Qualified immunity cases are extremely hard to beat. And in this particular instance, what this is going to boil down to for T. Tunstall is the officers have been warned and speak easy, told, man, let's try to avoid these medical calls, okay? We don't need any medical bills. We don't have insurance. Well, that dictates in your brain as an officer, okay, I'm told to avoid that, all right? So now your judgment is compromised. Qualified immunity, all right, can't exist at that threshold. If the council, all right, and the mayor's before him, mind you, especially this mayor now. I mean, he's supposed to be a top cop from Montgomery and spent his whole career in law enforcement. You would think that this guy, as soon as he was elected, went, wait, you guys don't have CMI insurance for inmates? What? No. We got to make a deal with the sheriff's office and get health coverage for who we're going to arrest. All right. No, he didn't, because the council dictates what they want, not the mayor. The mayor ain't nothing but an Uncle Tom to these people. And I said it and I'll say it again. Uncle Tom. All right. So qualified immunity, if you make the decision to go outside normal standing operator procedures, and if you this is called the Monell case. All right. I think this was in Virginia. All right. And you have Monell versus the state. And they wanted to erase the qualified immunity threshold because they were able to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they created a secret operating procedure that was not in writing, and it was directed by force from their bosses, which created the instance. Now, the Supreme Court ruled for Monell, all right, and stated, yes, if anyone, all right, that municipality jurisdiction tries to use a qualified immunity claim, it's going to have a thin threshold. Did you create a policy that led up to the instance, or was this just a one-off, an accident? That cop that just had a bad day, never had anything go on in his entire history. He got a divorce. He just wasn't right in the mind. Some guy called him a name and he beat him up. All right. That would be qualified immunity. You can't sue the whole entire city, all right, for something like that. But now if the whole entire city created a policy, all right, to skirt medical billing, now you just created indifference to human life.
And also to add to that as well, Stephan, what if you can prove by looking at the logs, looking at their information that they have within the police department, if you're able to dig up other cases, you can find other people that this has happened to, and it's just been swept under the rug. Now we're able to get
there's plenty of cases of it. They just did one last week. They had a guy that was, had heart conditions that was on the sheriff's dime because he had a county charge, and he got probation. They adjudicated him, but he's released. But then the city still has their hold on him for whatever it was. It might have been a fine, traffic ticket. I don't know what his charge was. But see, back to that whole jurisdiction and custody and in corpus. All right. The sheriff's office released his corpus back to him. Now the Monroeville Police Department takes his corpus back to their jurisdiction, even though he's still in the same jail. Well, they got told this man's got heart conditions. He takes pills. He goes to the doctor frequently. If you're going to want to keep him in here, well, you're going to pay for his medical. Oh, no, we're not doing that. Released immediately. All right. I have been released from the ER. All right. Myself personally. Okay. Because of this. I know this from my own personal on-hands experience with it many years ago.
So
and here we are.
You're saying that they released you because they didn't want to foot the bill.
Damn right. They do this all the time. I'm not the first one. The guy last week ain't the first one. Tunstall's not the first one. This is like clockwork there. If you have any type of a debilitating medical condition, all right, in your city custody, if you're otherwise not an extreme danger to the public, you're not in there for murder, rape, some real serious charges, man, they're letting you go. I mean, you literally have to be a murderer, a rapist, a pedophile, a diddler, all right, a big-time drug dealer, for them to keep you, all right? If you're not what they would deem an overall threat to the public, but they still have a charge on you, let's say you got DUI. Let's say that you got a domestic violence, or petty possession, you had some cocaine on you or whatever. They're going to get you the cheapest bond or an I bond and get you out of that jail as fast as possible. Especially if you have a pre-existing medical condition, man, you might not even get booked in.
Oh, wow. And you're telling me that this is something that you know for a fact is going on in Monroe?
110%. I'll put my hand on a Bible and swear to it.
Wow. And Mayor Andrews
it just happened last week. Yeah, it just happened last week with the case I just mentioned. And Mayor Andrews continues to let this activity go on, but he's top cop from Montgomery.
Well, listen, I will say this. I know in my post the other day, I gave him his props. Because, you got to give the guy credit. He has accomplished great things, yes? He was appointed state marshal by Obama. And,
correct.
He has accomplished great things. But this is something different because now you're responsible for the entire city of Monroeville. He is the CEO of Monroeville.
Right. And the only thing in this campaign, because of what you just said, all right, is what we all thought we were getting. But we didn't. We got a goose egg.
Wow. I've been seeing a lot of comments coming from you guys that have been, commenting on my post. And the general consensus is that a lot of people are not happy with the way he's running the city. You talked to me earlier about Billy G.
Yes, ma'am.
Everybody, I'm sure a lot of people watching this video.
You go, Billy. Go, Billy. Got your back, Billy.
So tell me about a situation that you experienced or about with Billy G and his run-in with Mr. Andrews.
All right. One of them, the little chat log disappeared when the video reset. I hope we still got our audience members here. But for instance, we wanted to get a splash pad down in Clausell in the park so the little ones, man, can go and splash around the water, get cool. It's hot. We live in Alabama. All right. Billy G and the community members down there wanted to build a splash pad. They were going to take care of the cost. They were going to all pitch together. It was going to be at minimal expense to the city or zero expense. They just wanted to have the authority, the ability, the charter to be able to build them a splash pad. Charles Andrews vetoed it. He said, nah, they ain't getting that. That's city liability. One of the, if kid slips and falls in the water, breaks his arm on our property, oh, it's all my fault. Man, we know how to write rules and regulations. Signs get put up. These parents bring their children there. They're supervised. They're not. It's not like they can drown in a small little puddle of water on some soft turf concrete. But anyways, my point is that Billy G and his constituents wanted to build a splash pad down in Clausell for the children. Mayor Andrews straight vetoed it. Billy G told him, in forward, in quote, you don't even care about your own kind. How, Mayor Andrew, you're black, all right, and we're trying to get something for the black children, all right, in the black community in Clausel to give them something nice, to get them to let them go play, and you won't even do it. You're supposed to be the constituents of the people, not yourself.
Wow. I didn't realize that so many people saw this and felt this way about him, but you obviously did. I want to go back to T. Tunstall, though, because I had a comment up that one of my friends wanted to know about EMT. When they were when this whole thing, because it's still kind of a blur for me what happened at that Sally Port. Because from my understanding, at the jail, if they're saying we don't want him in here, there has to be some paperwork. You can't just turn someone away without a reason, right?
And that's where we're probably going to see it come out in the SBI report when it's released.
Okay. That's what I want to get to, because that is also proof that he had a medical emergency. Yeah. And you and I both agree on this. If they were able to see it from a mile away, why is it that these guys riding in the car couldn't see it? Who called the EMT? Was it the jail?
I believe it was MPD. If, my memory is a little fuzzy on it, but I asked a person about that. Don't quote me on this, but I do believe that the police department, MPD, is who made the call for EMS to come. But now keep in mind, they could have did that back at the scene when they pulled him out the woods.
And it's a possibility that when they called, he was already dead. Is that possible?
I do firmly believe that in the time frame and what I know in human biology, don't get around, I'm not a doctor. I can't speak and attest to the facts of a doctor, but I'm 40 years old and I'm highly educated. If he was having a narcotic episode and he was having an OD, all right, or even if he just has a heart condition and he was having a heart attack, there could be no drugs involved in this at all.
Exactly.
The time that they took and they wasted from dragging them across the parking lot as slow as they can, and then putting them in the car, and then slowly taking their time, and then getting to the jail, and then from there waste all the more time waiting for EMS services to come to the jail, and then start doing their initial work. It's minutes. Minutes count. Time counts. That's why we have a helicopter in the sky that goes and picks people up in the woods when they're dying. All right, because time matters. Time matters to you. You're a person. If you have a problem and you are dying, minutes count. All right, and this is statistical odds. Everybody knows this. For every second and every minute you waste in a catastrophic, deadly emergency, the statistics of dying exponentially increase. Yeah. All right, and that's where we're at. So when all this happened, and the jailer's like, no, this guy needs help now. Call the ambulance immediately. All that time that got wasted is why he's dead.
All that time that was wasted is why he's dead. And who is responsible for that?
Monroeville Police Department. And it's sad. But once again, like I've been preaching here to this choir, all right, these are things that have been brought up to the council and the mayor. Keep in mind, this isn't, I will speak for Chief Mandy on this one. Chief Mandy doesn't dictate what the council and the mayor will buy for policies or insurance. That is complete. She is, now I'll say this much. She, as the chief of police, is forced to have to deal with that. All right. Now, that's where this creates the higher hierarchy of where this problem got created. It got created out of the council. The council decided to do this. And I'll say it again. They have been warned many times over that the statistics that you're going to wind into a severe injury casualty, all right, or death because of you not having insurance is just exponentially rising every day. You're lucky you have freaking. Who warned them? I can't say. I can't tell you. Just know that it happened. I mean, like I've said before, there's certain people that tell me certain things, and Is
it something that can be proven?
Yes, absolutely, 110%.
Absolutely. Is it on record? Is it like part of their minutes or something?
It would have to be. There's no way that you don't.
They need to get that.
This is going to go back a lot. This is going to go back to probably getting close to 18 years ago. All right. And then as they've been warned several times over the coming years up until recently, they have been told, hey, man, you guys really need to get an insurance policy. Oh, no, we're okay. We're not arresting people like that. And they haven't.
So who could have said no? Who in that scenario, when you have the mayor, you have the city council, who could have said, hell no, I don't agree with this?
Controlling vote out, a controlling vote out the council. All right. The majority wins. If there's a majority win and the majority of the council votes that, hey, we're not going to institute an insurance policy, because they have to vote. They have to vote on any expenditures that they're going to pay for.
That's right.
So you're going to have a controlling vote. But then now, Mayor Andrews, he has the choice to veto. All right. And he could send it back and put his input in and be like, look, this is a big deal. I think here's the reasons why. Here's the liability. This is what this is opening up to our community and to our officers and our city as a jurisdiction. We're leaving a wide door open to lawsuit. All right. That we're, unfortunately, going to have to pay the bill. Now, also at the same time, let's say, and here's another one, and here, just throw it out there. Let's take me as an example. All right. I have, hypertension 2, all right, borderline stage 3. Let's say I'm over in the jail, I'm working out, I'm trying to get my cardio, and I fall out. I'm having a heart attack. Let's say that they have to actually have open heart surgery on me. Well, I'm in the custody of Monroeville. They got to take me to the jail. You hope they take me to the jail and they don't just let me lay there and die. Okay. As we've seen here recently, the hospital is going to perform open heart surgery on me. They're going to fix me. And guess who's going to get the bill? City is. I was in their custody. They had control of my corpus. If they don't have, now here's another thing that they've talked about that I've been told. All right. And again, I can't tell you the different people that have told me certain things, that my sources are private to me. And that's the way that these agreements are. With this being said, this council did speak on, is there a way that we can make the public be responsible for all their own medical care as we're arresting?
Oh, no way.
Yes, that's why I know that this topic has been discussed. The Chipper Hare, all right, which is the city attorney, he needs to retire. He really needs to just go sit down somewhere. All right, his time has passed in the legal theater. Okay. Hi, Chipper. Freaking. They tried to dictate a policy that the people of the community, if they have a medical emergency and they're in their custody, they'll transfer all rights of the billing to them. Well, that completely goes against the Alabama Constitution for confined people.
Absolutely.
So these idiots literally talked and bounced the ball around and like, well, ma'am, we need to have insurance, but we're not paying it. We're not doing it. We're not giving up any more money than we absolutely need to. Why don't we just put the liability on the citizens? But the problem is that if you're arresting people and you're pulling them in their custody for long term, you can't do that.
Because you have the 14th Amendment that requires that you provide duty of care. So how are they able to get around it? Who holds them accountable to this? Who do you complain to about this?
Our representatives in Montgomery. All right. Maybe the feds, the Department of Justice. Hi, guys. All right. We've spoke before. Well, you need to come down here again. All right. Because the same shit keeps going on.
Okay. You said they've been down here before.
Yeah. Why do you think Task Force lost their contract? That's a Department of Justice controlled paid for contract. And
they said they can never come back.
No. None.
Why is the FBI in Monroeville?
All right. Well, when they went to go build the jail and they got the money from the Department of Justice to build the jail, all right, they built the jail under budget. They built it for $3.7 million less than what they gave them to build it. Well, when the auditors at the Department of Justice went and looked and said, well, wait a minute, there's a deficit of $3.7 million to the good. You have to return that money. You don't get to just keep it. What money? We don't know what you're talking about. We're looking at all the build records and everything that you paid for the entire job to build it. There's $3.7 million that is missing out of the budget to build it. Great. We applaud you. Thanks for building it for cheaper. But you need to return that $3.7 million. I spoke to the FBI head senior agent that was that came to this town. That is the reason why the FBI is here. They want to go follow the money. When they started investigating and talking to Hammer Construction and all the other outfits that took part in the build of the jail, Tom Tate again. What's up, Tom? They wanted to know where the money was. Well, the council and the people in charge at that point in time, they circled the wagons. Not one person would say anything to that FBI agent on anything of where the money disappeared to. And it pissed him off. He literally told me, he's like, do you know how frustrating it is to be down here for 3 years investigating $4 million and I can't get the first damn person to tell me shit? You are the only one. You are the only person in the entire length that I've been in this town has even opened up and told me anything of what's going on and where that money went.
You mean you? You're the only one. Wow.
So I tell you, I know things.
So
they should have never kicked in my door and set my family up and broke my family up and lost my children and did all the things that they did to me and my family over all the years, or I wouldn't even be on your show right now talking to you.
Wow. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Well, that's how I got to know all these things. Look, to be able to, if I'm going to combat my enemy, all right, then it's just in the theater of law. I have to understand my opponent. I have to know my opponent's movements. I have to know what they do and what the shakeout is. So I went underground. I've already got to know the majority of the community in my cable days and servicing and doing, housework and, door-to-door sales and things. I went underground. I started listening to my community. I started listening to all you out there. All right. I wouldn't know half the things that I know if it wasn't for people like you out there in Monroeville that have trusted me and confided in me to tell me these things. Because when I told you all the way back then and now, and I'll tell you again, the things that you tell me in confidence, I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to speak for you. That I am going to yell it from the rooftops, and I always have and I always will. That's why I know these things. I got to be trusted in this community. All right. I'm not a bad guy. Sure, I've been in trouble. I got a record. I've been to jail. I've been to prison. I'm not proud of it. All right. But I own several homes. I got a little small business I operate. I got cars. I got things. I got a wife. My high school sweetheart. We've been married 15 years. We have a chance to turn our lives around and do good with it. And where I'm boiling up to this is the Monroeville Police Department took that opportunity from T. Tunstall. He had the opportunity to turn his life around. He could have been there for his children. He could have been there for his family. He could be there with us right now. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. But the greed of that council, all right, and their shitty policies, all right, and the Monroeville Police Department shithole training, all right, led us to where we are today, and that man's dead.
I want you to address this comment right here. It says that this is true. Everything that you brought to us tonight, the entire city of Monroeville is at risk.
Yes, and I've been saying this for years. This ain't the first time I've said this. This is just the first time I've actually got an audience on the entire internet on a platform like this to say it. I've been saying this to so many people in our legislature, all right, and people in the community, and just smoke cigarette politic talk, that this is what's going on, and it is a severe risk to us. We got officers out there that are trained to not care about our medical needs, all right. So what happens when your grandmother, your mother, your father, your niece, your nephew, your Mimi, your TT, whoever, all right, they have a problem. What are they going to do? Go kick them out the back of the car into a ditch somewhere or drive off? I'm being a little extreme there, but it's satirical. But the point still stands because that's what they just did to T. It's not anything different.
So what do people do then, Stephan, like tomorrow? If the residents hearing this, What should they do? Who should they call right up front? Who is the person they should make a phone call to?
The representatives in the council. The next council meeting, I will have to go look on a calendar, but I mean, if everybody, wants to actually start screaming at these people about it. But the problem, let me back up on that one. And the problem that we have here in our community, we have been beaten. All right. We have been tased. We have been stalked. We have been hurt. We have been set up. Anytime that we ever voice our opinion over the years, or especially in the Tom Tate years and Alpha Crowd, oh my God. All right. If anybody ever stands up to speak against these people, we get targeted. We start getting pulled over. We start getting wrote tickets. We start getting fines. We start getting, roughed up. And that's where this whole boils down to. We are free. We're not supposed to live in fear. We're afraid to go talk to the council. We're afraid to go tell these people that, hey, you guys got some shitty policies going on that leaves us all at risk. But I would be more than happy to go lead this over at the council. And I'll speak up for it. If I could get a rallying of my peers and the people in my community behind me, and we could all march up in that council and we could all have this discussion together. Because the way that it works here in this town, not one guy I've done several times by myself. I got lucky, but normally not one person is going to go ahead and change what's happening in our town. We need to have people involved. That's right. And that this whole stigma, thankfully we have Tom Boatwright. All right. We don't have to worry about, that crackerjack, beat 'em up politics, cover you up, shoot you, throw you in the wood chipper shit that we dealt with Tom Tate. We do have a level of, honesty and civility out of the sheriff's office that we have now. They're good people, but the people, they're not over us though. We're not in their jurisdiction. We're in the city's jurisdiction. All right. And let's take Michael Gibson. Hi, Mikey. Frickin'. Let's go ahead and take Michael Gibson for an example. The council, the mayor, and Mandy allowed Michael Gibson to run around here in his little feeble pea brain of his, thinking that he's top cop. He's super cop. He's beating people up. He broke Ovella's arm on the courthouse steps, and she's like 110 pounds. All right, shaking like a leaf. He broke the poor woman's arm. That was thankfully one of the last straws for him, and they finally let him out. But my point is that he targeted people. All right, and if people in the council or mayor or whatever didn't like you, well, Mikey was good to have. He'd go after you like a rabid dog. So, and that's built as systemic ideology in the people in our community, and has built fear into us. I have been probably the only person that I know of that has ever been as public as I've always have been. These people are scared. They've always been scared. They're scared. And how are we living in America, all right, United States, all right, and we wake up and we know that we can't speak because the powers that be that rule us are going to set us up, beat us up, all right, kill us, or whatever. And that's the stigma that we've had with so many people in our community for all these years. So trying to get people together and go against these people is really hard because they've built fear into them.
Yeah. I think that's probably why there was a poor showing at the rally, the protest that was orchestrated by Joshua Buford, is because of that fear. That's why I'm here speaking, because I know that a lot of people in Monroeville want to say these things, but they can't. Now, I want to bring this up. I see a comment here about Boatwright, but I want to go back to this one. This viewer said that the police are bonded just like a doctor. So if they get sued and found guilty, they will have to pay the city. I know from experience 20 years ago. Talk about that.
This is true. And this is getting back into murky territory with qualified immunity, all right, and creating the problem. All right. You can have, like, for instance, and I told this to you privately, and this is getting on the topic of hazard insurance. All right. Hazard insurance is only going to pay to an X amount, all right, or whatever you bought it for. All right. Your bond per officer that you have in that kitty for each one are only bonded for X amount of dollars. Okay. Well, what we're looking at here is a non-qualified immunity case. So when the city, all right, if, and I'm just speaking from my legal knowledge, if qualified immunity is taken away and a justice goes, no, you guys created a policy, you've allowed this mess with these cops' operating procedures and how they handle themselves. This is what overall led to the condition. If this family sues them, which they are, I hope they do, all right, and they sue the city, well, they have hazard insurance for this particular type for lawsuits. Well, the problem is that when their hazard insurance goes, and I've dealt with insurance too, by the way, when their hazard insurance underwriters go and look at the whole entire deal and examine it for the payout, they're going to look at it and go, well, wait a minute. This wasn't necessarily an accident. This was something that you created, that you knew was going to happen, and you chose not to act on it. We're not covering the policy. So I'm just going to throw a number out there. I'm not saying that this is going to happen. I'm just plain speak. Let's just say the family gets a verdict for $30 million, and they actually go all the way with this. I could see the family getting paid, immense amount of money. All right. Number one, even if the insurance policy was going to cover it, well, if they can't pay for in regular medical CMI insurance for in custody persons, what makes you think that they're going to buy a massive freaking a hazard insurance policy for lawsuits? They don't. All right. What's going to end up happening is Monroeville, this could be the case that actually dissolves Monroeville, and they'll have to sell themselves out. This is going to be a case exactly like Bessemer in Jefferson County. Jefferson County has two counties inside the same jurisdiction. Bessemer County got so corrupt, so bad, all right, their council completely raped and pillaged the entire community. Go, anybody that drives up there and has been to Bessemer that can speak, that has been up there, well, no, I ain't lying. You go up into Bessemer, man, it's a war zone. Man, there's potholes the size of dumpsters, all right? Their whole entire infrastructure is crumbled. Well, they sold their jurisdiction to actual Jefferson County, Montgomery. All right. They absorbed them. But the condition to their deal was, we're going to keep our jail. We're going to keep our judges. We're going to keep our police. You can have everything else, but we're going to get that money. We're going to get them ticket dollars. We're going to get that last little bit. All right. And Bessemer is literally teetering. Their jail gets condemned on the daily. They got feces and poops running down the walls. They get condemned literally several times a year. All right. The only thing that's keeping Bessemer alive is their police force squeezing their citizens for ticket money and fines. Okay. Now take that example and bring it back to Monroeville and how this county operates to be able to get its monies. I mean, like, for instance, the council and the mayor decided that they were going to create a city ordinance and call it a crime against the city if you have too many leaves in your yard. And they charge you $500 a day. If 20 days go by,
Wait a minute. Okay, now my head is spinning. You're telling me right now, currently, there's an ordinance in Monroeville that if you have too many leaves in your yard, they'll fine you.
Yeah. Oh, if you got a spare, I'm already dealing with that. I've been to court twice. If you have a spare car in your yard, let's say you don't have it registered because, well, you're not driving it on the road. It's your spare car off to the side. They have a city inspector they're paying for to spy on all of us. He's walking around in our backyards, taking pictures. It's not the neighbors that are calling the cops or calling the city. Hey, man, this guy's got a whole bunch of washing machines and shit in his yard, man. Can you get him to do something? No, it's not. They got a guy that's running around the community, poking around in our backyards, on our porches, taking pictures of our properties, and then he is deciding, oh, well, hey, Chipper Hare, hey, Mayor Andrews, Pat Bowen, man, this guy's got an extra car in his yard, the plate's expired, now they send you a letter telling you, get rid of your property, destroy it, all right? I got $150,000 worth of sports cars lined up on my property right now, and they're telling me that I got to take my money and that I need to build a fence so the public don't see my prized possessions. Bitch, it's my property. I'll do whatever the hell I want on it. All right? So what I'm boiling down to is that the city and the county is doing what Bessemer does. They're strangling us. They are literally soaking up every single freaking dollar and cent that they possibly could take out of us. And they're not giving us anything back for it. We still got drugs running rampant in our streets. We got shootouts like the OK Corral going on every other day here. MPD ain't doing shit about it. The council ain't doing nothing. Well, they don't have medical insurance to go arrest people for serious offenses and put them in a jail for long periods of time for the dipshit shit they're doing. I'm getting worked up. I apologize. Let me get back to this and simmer down. All right. We have a council that is literally dedicated to doing nothing but pulling as much money in. There it goes. As pull as much money as it can out the populace to put in our coffers. They're not caring about any of our situations. You know, they're not caring about what any of us are going through. Are we on Social Security? Are we out of work? All right, or anything. They don't care. So that's what we're living in.
Let me bring up some of these comments. This is crazy because so what are they doing? What kind of positive things do you see that they are doing in Monroeville with all this money they're getting? And isn't part of the county commission that deals with how the properties look? Isn't that county commissioner people?
Yeah.
All right, let's pull up some of these comments. Mitchell says Boatwright is just as corrupt. He sent a queer police up here to try to spy. They're all corrupt. Ooh. Okay.
Well, damn.
Well, that's what I don't even know what to say, Mitchell. They use that buddy system, divide and conquer. If they got up on their radio, if they got you on their radar and their buddies don't like you, they all attack. It's not what a sheriff or law enforcement is supposed to be for. Defund them all. Oh,
and Mitchell Stabler makes an extremely is beating the war drum that I've been beating for years. That's how they operate. Thank you very much for your input.
Lock them out. Look at all of them steals. It finally catching up with all of them. But it was a poor man owed $9 million in taxes. They garnish your check. How the hell the IRS ain't seen that steals stolen to? Do you know what he's talking about the steal?
Absolutely know what he's talking about, the steal. See, David Steele Jr.'s daddy. All right. Hi, David. Thanks for giving my wife's kid away all them years ago. See, I'm still here and I'm still talking. All right. David Steele's daddy, their law firm, the Steele and Steele, had a little corner building here. They're an outfit of attorneys, and they were managing trusts and land trusts in people's accounts. Well, the Steeles they were getting broke. They just kept spending their money. They wanted to live that highfalutin lifestyle. And they started taking money out of the people's coffers that they were deemed to protect. The Steeles were supposed to manage their trusts and protect their money. Instead of protecting their money, they stole it. All right. And I've been told, this is a rumor. All right. So I'm saying coming from me, David Steele Sr. tried to set up a coke deal. All right. And the boat got caught by the Coast Guard, and the dope got caught. The idiot left the registration that he rented the cigarette boat, the Go Fast boat, in the glove box, and Coast Guard caught the boat. One of David Steele's friends at the federal courthouse heard that they were secretly indicting him, all right, for a whole slew of charges, called him up and said, hey, David, I don't know what you're into up there. I don't know what's going on, but you are facing a behemoth. It's coming for you. I'm just giving you a heads up, man. I know you were buddies. Just know they're coming for you. That day, he switched all of the property, all the accounts, all the land, everything he had over to his wife's account, or to his wife's name. He literally gave her rights to everything. Then he got a shotgun. He went out to the cemetery where his daddy is. He called his brother, told his brother, hey, man, I can't be here anymore. I effed up, and I can't take it. I ain't going to prison. And he blew his brains out with a 12-gauge shotgun.
Jesus Christ.
On his daddy's grave.
Jesus.
Now that's what I've been told. That's the whole instance of why he shot himself was because he was under indictment for a drug deal that went bad. His idea was that, hey, I'll get this dope in here. Well, we all know here that this is a thoroughfare for blow, so I got Tom Tate. I got Alfred Carter. All I got to do is just get the blow here, man. I'm going to get paid, and I'll put all the money back. And no one will know it's gone. See, no one knew that the money was gone yet. All right. What triggered the event was him blowing his brains out. All right. Then the people that were employing him to protect their trusts started looking at, whoa, this guy just killed himself? Where's my money? Next thing you know, no, man, your money's gone. He took it. He stole it. And right now it's on the front page of the paper. This week, the Steeles are on front page. The families that this money was stolen, they're suing David Steele Jr. They're suing the wife. They're suing the estate and trust to take their money back. And you want to know what? And the Steeles are fighting it. The Steeles are literally fighting them. How can you anywhere call yourself, you're a lawyer, you're an attorney, you swore an oath, all right, to the United States Constitution, the Alabama Constitution, and to all of us that you represent, all right, and you know that your daddy stole all this money from these people, and now you won't refuse to give any of it back. You is just as bad as he is.
Wow. Let's go back to
again.
Let's go back to T. I have a question here. Is there a medical staff at the county jail? Because this is where it's still cloudy for me, Stephan. When they took him to the jail,
they have a nurse.
They do have a nurse.
They have a nurse.
Why not we get help from the medical staff at the jail?
Well,
why
see, now honestly, I'm speaking under law and contractual obligations here. That nurse is employed by their medical policy in their jurisdiction. This sucks. I hate to say it this way, but it's just the truth. Let's say, for instance, that nurse came out and tried to do something with Mr. Tunstall. All right. And God forbid, she messed him up. She did something she wasn't supposed to. But that autopsy comes back, and if they did something out the way, even though they were trying, they would still open themselves up to a lawsuit from the family. So, it's not necessarily the greatest situation in the world, but just do know that when you have insurance and you have contractual obligations inside jurisdictions, man, it's a real fine line to tread of who's going to take the liability of injury if you try to help, all right, and you mess them up. Now,
what does the law say, though? What does the law say about someone coming to your jail in medical need? Do you just turn them away just because you don't want that liability, or do you try to help them?
Well, they didn't turn them away. They freaking made them call the police. They made them call the hospital immediately. And they made them go ahead and hit them with the Narcan. So, there's really not too much that they can do. They only have a nurse there that just gives out pills, to the inmates. They don't have like a medical staff there. They still rely on the hospital for critical conditions and serious case scenarios, which mostly
so they can only do so much is what you're saying.
Correct.
Now they posed this and presented this as if, well, he went to the hospital and was pronounced dead. He was actually dead at the jail. Yes, pretty much. They said when they came, he had no pulse. That's what the dispatch record says.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
So then he died there on the property of the jail.
Right, in Monroeville Police Department's custody.
In Monroeville's custody, because he never crossed the threshold. See, This is where it's a fine line for me. This is why I can't be one way or the other on this. Because on one hand, I know that the Monroeville Police Department was responsible to do the right thing. We all agree. They should have done it at Marengo Street. He should have never been at the jail. But because he went to the jail, now it seems like it's a shared responsibility because he came down that Sally Port. I'm interested to know what the law says about when they show up on that property and you turn them away. What are your responsibilities as the sheriff when you turn people away? Because I know it can't be get out of here. Don't try it.
Well, it's not. It's not that they turn. Well, it's a little muddy there. It's not that they turned him away. They just denied them to they transfer his jurisdiction into theirs. All right. They made MPD call medical support. All right. He got the Narcan there in the Sally Port. All right, there was life-saving measures done inside the Sally Port, and that's where I draw my line here is why did it take all this time to take him to the Sally Port for our sheriffs to see, whoa, this guy's messed up. He needs life-saving aid right now. Hit him with the Narcan. Man, get him something. But it was too late. That's where the whole kit and caboodle is here. It was too late.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I do applaud, the sheriffs, the girls, the deputies in there. They did the right thing. They saw that this man was in trauma. They knew he was
1,000%. Yeah, because they have that right.
And
they have that right.
They assisted. Yeah. They made them deploy the Narcan. All right, so this still just, I hate to say it, man. This literally a Monroeville Police Department deal solely. They effed up horribly in not just one way, two way, three way, several ways, a lot, not just one. And that's where this whole conundrum boils down to is what the council dictates as policies to their officer in the Monroeville Police Department.
So it looks like Mitchell Stabler has an axe to grind too. It looks like he is, y'all ain't killed me yet, boys. I say down with all you corrupt sons of bees. Oh, wow, Mitchell. Alfred lost his job. Better so they say the task force ain't around, but they all want a bed. I don't understand what that means. We gonna expose it all. Okay, it sounds like, listen.
Real talk.
It sounds like you got some people that's ready to talk, to establish this.
Normally,
thing.
when I start talking, like people
blow it all the way up. Everybody that has an issue, maybe this is the case. This is the time. Do you agree, Stephan?
Yes, 100%. Now, this is and this is where I'll make a point to that, is that it is extremely sad and unfortunate that this man died. All right, but this man died to the greed and the corruption that this place does. If this man's story and the real true dog facts that led to his death, which exposes the corruption, and this man just gets swept up underneath the table, just like I got swept up underneath the table. I still yet to get justice for the crazy crap these people have done to me. The only justice I get is talking to people like you and working through the community. That's how I get my justice. But this man's death right here can literally be the door opener that brings justice to all of us. T. Tunstall's family can get justice, and T. Tunstall's death cannot be in vain, and it can literally blow the doors off on everything that goes on with this corrupt ass city.
All right, let's talk about this, because we're about to wrap up, because I definitely know that we want to get to the state's investigation. Can MPD administer Narcan, or do they have to wait for the paramedics?
If the way Narcan works with officers is there will be a select amount of officers. Some jurisdictions, like San Francisco and high drug-related areas, they certify all their cops with a Narcan, a kit. All right. So I don't know how many officers here are certified with Narcan. All right. I doubt that they would certify all of them because it costs money. Then maybe
they're not the ones that administered it. Maybe it was EMT.
That's a good question, and I would love to know that question. Was it MPD that administered Narcan? Because the officer that did has got to be certified to administer Narcan. All right, could have been someone in the jail that administered Narcan. If I had to put my money on it, because these people are so much penny pinchers, they don't want to spend shit. All right, I would have to probably put my money on the paramedics or who gave them the Narcan.
The report states the EMT administered the Narcan, not the MPD.
Well, there you go.
So then that means the MPD didn't do anything.
Back again to not doing shit.
Oh, gosh. This is, you know what? Okay. So basically what we have here, Stephan, MPD dragged this man into the car. They put him face down, according to the witness.
They dragged him across the pavement for almost a block first. Don't forget that.
Oh, yeah, let's not forget that. They throwed him in the back of the cruiser, face down, according to the witness. Now, if he was tased and or pepper sprayed, that was a death sentence.
Yeah.
We know that.
100%.
Because it restricted his breathing.
Absolutely.
And I think they knew that. They couldn't have been that dumb.
They are that dumb.
They know they tased him and laid him on his face.
Because they don't care. They don't care. because they don't
They don't
care.
care. I am still not sure what happened in that salad court. I'm not convinced yet. Something went wrong there, and I do know this. I do know that there are people at that jail that have said he had taser burns on his body when he came there. There are people who have said he was dead when he got to that jail. There are people who have said that at the jail, Mandy came over. Your lead investigator came over. They were all just standing around at the jail. So if they were all standing there, at what point? So you're telling me then that they were sitting in this police cruiser, just sitting there waiting on EMT to come?
Yep.
That's messed up. And I hope the family sues the hell out of them.
They do.
I hope they bankrupt Monroe.
I hope they do. Monroeville as a jurisdiction needs to dissolve. All right.
What happened to Penny Johnson? She died in there at Monroe County Jail. Nothing was done, not even an investigation. Oh, who's Penny Johnson?
I don't remember too much of that, but I do remember that. There's been a couple of people that have died in the jail. What up, Samantha?
Okay, so here's the thing. This is why I don't pick sides. This is exactly why I'm not a champion for the sheriff either. I want the truth at the end of the day.
I do too.
That's it. Now we're going to get to this question. Kim says, what is the outcome of the state's investigation? We don't know yet.
We just got the video, and what we know is case law facts.
That's it. Nothing, Kim. We have no body cam footage. Now, let me ask you a question, Stephan. Does Monroeville even wear body cam foot? Do they even wear body cams?
They do, but they have a habit of shutting them off.
You better hush your mouth. What?
They have body cams, and they have a knack for shutting them off.
You've experienced that?
Yep. I've asked for body cam footage for fights that I've got with some of these cops on my porch. Can't get it, don't have it. It was off.
And what's the law about that in Alabama?
That I can't speak to that one. I do know that if you get given and you're one of the officers and you sign a paper that you have every time that you turn your patrol lights on, your takedown lights, all the cameras inside your vehicle and your body cam turns on. If there is a mute button, you are able to mute it. All right. If you need to talk it, and I'll give them a little bit of credit. If they're talking about sensitive matters, all right, they can hit the mute button. All right. I don't agree with that. All right. But I mean, if they're dealing with certain scenarios that they don't need certain information that they're trying to protect somebody, doesn't need to be, said. But over in general, the video keeps rolling. All right. Any time that there's an incident, all right, and the police they activate and they have a body camera, it is to be turned on and it remains on until the close of the call and the person's taken to the jail. Or if you're just another officer that comes up to the scene, your body cam is to remain on until, whatever you're doing at the scene is done and you leave. But while you're on scene in the crime scene, for whatever reason of what's going on, your body camera is supposed to remain on.
So we don't even know, real talk, if SBI has all of the body cam footage in this situation.
And I doubt they probably don't. But we won't know until that gets back to the DA. Now, I will say this much. Chris King, he does sit there in the DA's office. I don't know too much about, Tommy Watson. I mean, it's a little back and forth on that. But if there's anybody in that DA's office that's going to take this case seriously, all right, that will actually have a level of empathy for the family and the situation, I have to put my money on Chris King. Chris King has always been a good man to the community. And if Chris King gets anywhere involved in this, which I hope he does, if Chris King sees that there's definitely been gross wrong here, I don't see why Chris King in the DA's office wouldn't speak for the family and tell it like it is.
Isn't he the assistant, though?
He is the assistant. But the man, he's got a lot more tenure. He's a lot more senior than Todd Watson is any day of the week.
So let me ask you a question. How does that good old boy system work? Are the DA and the mayor, are they all buddies?
Well, see, that's a misconception. Now, as far as Todd Watson and his constituency, to them, that I don't know. All right. I know that there's others inside that DA's office that don't have that, as a fact, don't have any constituency with the council or the mayor at all. All right. From when I pulled my stunt and I went after these people hard and I really shook the boggle bin up. All right. What came out of it was Jack Weaver, Tom Boatwright, Donna Silcox, and then Steve Wadlington. Well, he went into retirement. Steve Wadlington was a straight man, hang a person piece of dirt. All right, Steve Wadlington. Oh man, Steve Wadlington would set your ass up, man, for nothing. All right, he did anything, literally anything that the sheriff told him to do. Now, I do have to say that I have seen with my own hands. All right, there is a level of transparency when the sheriff do their conduct on the sheriff's side. When they do their police work and their investigations and they apprehend a subject, it gets turned over to the DA's office. The DA's going to do whatever they're going to do. All right. And then that's when the public defender's office, or if you go and hire your own counsel, kick in. The only problem that we have has been a big problem here is the length of time people sit before they go to court or adjudicate their case. And it's not necessarily a problem with the DA's office or our court system. It's Alabama. Alabama doesn't have a quick and speedy trial clause, all right, written into their charter and law. They're, from our Supreme Court justices, they recommend, per case law, 36 months. And then after that, extenuating circumstances, and like there's a lot of litigants for civil matters and whatnot, or it's an extremely high profile case with a whole lot of shit going on, it can extend 36 months. But the whole root reason why so many people sit in our jail or wait for their cases to be heard is the state of Alabama doesn't have a clear written authority for quick and speedy trials at all, period. It's pretty much a blasé, hey guys, we're going to kind of get it done in 36 months, okay? So until the state legislator on top of Montgomery, all right, creates a quick and speedy trial clause, we as the civilians and then the DA's offices all throughout the state and our court systems throughout the state, there's no incentive, let alone is there anything written per case law or law as a fact to handle cases expeditiously.
So I want to go back to the body cams and the autopsy, because we still don't know what the autopsy report is going to come back and say. SBI is the one that's managing this, right? So what happens if we got two scenarios? Because SBI is going to say A.
You right, Hyder.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I was just saying, you right, Hyder. I remember that. I know Mr. Hyder.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
What they're gonna, the SBI is not going to say, they're going to say if a crime was committed here, right? With these officers. That's what their goal is. If they don't see, that's one of them. If they don't see that these officers are, because maybe the body cam doesn't show anything, it was cut off, it was shut off, we don't know what happened in the woods.
You make a good point.
See that they tased him. They're looking at the autopsy. They're not quite sure what these bruises may or may not have been. And let's say they come back and say,
a taser bruise is pretty evident, and the way they dragged him out through the woods after again, if we're going to go with the scenario he was tased, I can't speak on SBI, but if I was an investigator, all right, which I kind of am for certain things, that's why I'm here. All right, if I was an investigator, all I would have to do is look at the on-scene video, see that there's taser burns on his body, and how the indifference and how the cops treated him. Because even if they did shut his video off, let's just pretend that they did shut their body cameras off. I wouldn't doubt they did, because they got a knack of it, because they don't want to get caught doing the crooked shit they do. When they screw up, they shut it off. But we have that one telltale video. If the man was tased to the level that we think he was, the fact that they dragged him all the way through the bushes and across the entire parking lot and heaved him in a car without checking his vitals or making sure that he is anywhere okay. If it's not considered criminal, it's definitely considered gross negligence. So that's where we're really going to get into that's where this is going to be a fine threshold between with the SBI and the DA's office and looking at these officers. Okay, do we charge them with manslaughter because they did tase him? They didn't try to provide any life-saving aid to him, which is per training to deploy a taser. All right. They were trained to do that. They chose not to. All right. So you're looking at one side that they very well could be charged with manslaughter. And the other side of it, at the very bare minimum, is that this is considered gross negligency all the way across the board because of shitty policies dictated by the council, which is then dictated to Mandy, which then gets dictated to their cops. What's the old adage? Shit rolls downhill. Where do you think it goes? Us.
That's right. Absolutely. Let's look at this comment. He says, I was pulled over for a simple nonviolent traffic infraction, and I've witnessed them take the camera off their actual person and hand it to an officer next to them, who then put it in the car. What?
Yep. They sure did.
Stephen knows it.
Sure
Stephan
did.
knows it.
They did.
Oh my God.
He was just on the way from my freaking house going to my other house because I was going to help him with his motorcycle. They pulled him over on his truck. We just bought a truck for him. I mean, so we didn't, register it yet. I mean, we didn't have the truck more for like 2 weeks. And he got pulled over. And it was either that or he was in my car. I'm trying to remember if he was in the truck or if he was in my... Babe, was that the one where you were in my Jag? Because that would make sense why they took the camera off. But no, that did happen. They took the camera off, tossed it in the car to go talk to him. And if I remember, I could have swore that was when he was driving my Jaguar. See, I drive Jags. I'm a Jag nut. I love Jaguars. I mean, look at me. I like to be fly. There ain't nothing but a sharp driving a Jaguar. I mean, I've owned 27 of them. So I mean, the cops got known if they see a Jaguar, well, 100% it's me. So I mean, I get profiled just by my damn cars I like to drive.
That's crazy.
So that's what got him pulled over.
The only one up there I like is Billy G. He's the only one that stood up for Daddy when Sandra Middleton boy and his buddy jump on Daddy at the county. Billy G, yeah. They try to keep the poor working and paying that courthouse machine so we don't come together to fight. Oh, wow. We need to fire them all. Clean slate. That money in their pockets, they get paid for each day we sit in that jail. Let me get through all our comments. And get hot dogs and hard biscuits, maybe chicken on Wednesdays. What?
Yeah, they feed us like shit, man.
I've never been in the jail. I don't think I want to go.
No,
what
you
happened
really
to
don't.
Allen and Green Tech? If there were no charges against the officers, wouldn't the report already be released?
Allen didn't pay his bills, and the city kicked him out the building.
If there were no charges against the officers, wouldn't the report already be released by now?
Unless they're trying to cover something up.
This is what I'm trying to figure out.
You would think.
Something doesn't feel right, Stephan. He brought the officers back. SBI still hasn't completed their investigation, but he wants us to wait until the investigation is over, but he didn't. So what is it that made him so convinced, maybe, that these officers would not be found liable, that he would send them back to work? What does the mayor know that we don't know?
I have the perfect analogy for that. I go rob the bank, okay? Well, we know the bank got robbed. We know there's somebody out there robbing the bank. I'm not going to go buy a sports car. I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to act like nothing ever happened. The more that you keep up the normal look, all right, and you just present it out there and make it look like everything's okay, all right, there's nothing to see here, all right, but in fact there really is. So whenever you look at someone, and I mean, I've dealt with things in court, lawsuits that I've won every single one of them. All right, I practice law for my family. I mean, I'm not an attorney, don't mind you, but oh, okay, bet. That's right, because I could have swore you were pulled over in my car too. That's right, I remember that. Anyways, so if you're gonna put this look that everything's okay, they're going back to work, there's nothing to see here, it was all okay, you pacify the community. All right, you make it look like everything's okay, but you want to know what? What we're doing right here is the calm eye of the storm, and they know it. They know there's a storm brewing. They know that there's shit coming out the woodwork everywhere. they know that they have screwed up in the most terrible way possible. I mean, they took the shit cake for real home with them when this happened. This is one of those scenarios. It is going to be so immensely hard to get out of a qualified immunity claim, all right, let alone an extremely large lawsuit against the municipality and the Monroeville Police Department. And that's why I've been beating all this down, and I've been saying this so advantageously, is they are going to try to go after a qualified immunity. All right. Yeah. That's what every municipality does. And that's why I'm telling the family and all of you now, these people don't have insurance and they avoid it, like with a 10-foot pole. It dictates their policy in their brains. That these cops got their standard operating procedures built into them. So if they're handicapped in one way, that handicap is going to dictate how they carry out their functions in the community. And we got this.
Wow. Hattie she's asked a few times here about about Rhonda Mosley's murder. Is that something that you can look at with her or talk to her after the show about?
I would be more than happy to. I mean, you guys know I got friends places. If there's some way I can help you, I will.
So Hattie, reach out to Stephan. Reach out to him because he's been helping a lot of people. Honestly, he's been helping a lot of people. Oh my goodness, so many comments are coming in. I want to make sure. Yeah, you're right, bro. It's about what kind of pull-up got their corrupt head to toe. Yeah,
real talk. I mean, that's fact. For real, for real.
She said for real, for real.
No cap.
All right, looks like Jeter, Jane, Samantha has another issue here because we want to make sure you guys bring your situations here, because we want to make sure that the Attorney General and everybody sees that the citizens of Monroeville are fed up and that we're calling them out now. So y'all got a lot to deal with, Mayor. October 7th, 2025, at approximately 7:30 a.m. I was coming out of Limestone and met the city police. They turned around on me. I didn't see them till almost got right there in front of the daycare center, right there before you get back on the square. They pulled me over. He asked me what I was doing at Limestone at 7:30 in the morning. I politely told him I was taking my baby's granddaughter a pack of cigarettes. I mean, my baby's grandmother a pack of cigarettes that she had just got out of the hospital. And he said, okay, let me see your license.
Now, listen, now thanks, Samantha. She makes an excellent point that I've brought up so many times here and I've streamed throughout the years. These people profile us, all right? Like, I know pretty much the entire black community. I used to go hang out in freaking Marengo Street, man, and get drunk, all right? You know, I've fixed computers. I've fixed people's phones, their cars. I mean, when I go inside of Clausel down there on the bottom and I come back out, I can't count how many times I've been pulled up. Man, what are you doing, Stephen? Man, I fixed somebody's computer. Why would you pull me over to ask that? Because you're profiling, all right? And we all know that profiling is highly illegal. And these cops, and Samantha makes an extremely good point, these cops, all right, are programmed to profile. Man, hey, if you see someone coming, just going into Clausel and they're coming right back out, man, they probably went and got dope. All right, go pull them over. All right. Now, one, that's really racist. All right. And you're really shitty if that's how you think. Number two, they want to profile the black community down there. Now, look, there's some, illegal shit that goes down in there every now and then. Don't get me wrong. All right. But that doesn't mean that we're all taking part of that. We all got jobs. We all have things. We got friends. So what if Samantha or me or Hyder or this woman or that person want to go on down to the bottom and go hang out, drink a beer and say hi to our folks? What, we're going to get pulled over just because we went to the black community? What does that say what we're dealing with here in Monroe County? I mean, in Monroeville. It's back to that segregated Uncle Tom, crackerjack racist politics that these bastards sit there and bestow on us from the top.
Wow. Let's talk about these officers. Do we know their names?
Their names are there. I haven't kept track of them. I mean, I know their faces. I know what they look like, but I forgot their names.
How can we find out if they have any prior issues?
FOIA request. It would be a FOIA request directly to the mayor's office.
Their names to be able to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Were the names produced in the newspaper? Do you remember?
No, I don't. I don't think they did. I mean, I don't see any reason why they would have, just because they're trying to cover shit up. But no, I don't remember. I don't remember seeing that.
Oh, Rhonda Morrison. They're talking about Rhonda Morrison's killer. Now I hear a whole lot of stuff about that. That she was in the wrong place at the wrong time. That place had become like a drug. That laundry cleaners had become like a drug place. That's all alleged. But I agree. I think that there should be some accountability to that.
Okay, now I know. Okay, now I understand. No, they have not found the real killer, because the real killers are the people that were selling the dope out that damn store, which Tom Tate, and his buddies, and she stumbled and found out what was going on accident. And from what we've been told before, she wasn't even supposed to be at work that day. She was just there to help, to want to go open the store. That's why all the money was still in the register, and they still ain't found nobody. Because what it was is she found out that they were running an undercover drug front out that store, and they killed her for it. That's why we ain't found anybody. If you really want to find out who killed him, go knock on Tom Tate's door and ask him.
Okay. So here's the thing. I do know that when Johnny D was found to not have been responsible, they gave some evidence over to Monroeville saying, hey, go check out this guy. And they dropped it. Nothing. Crickets. And so based on what you're saying, it's because Tom Tate knew a little bit more than we thought.
Yup.
We'll leave that one there. I only was there for a short time, but we advocated for so many people and did so many great things, and the community went to SHIT again. Really? What do you mean? What does he mean by that? He advocated for so many people.
Well, he worked in the community. He got to know a lot of people, and he's got to see firsthand, by talking to people that, because he's one of my best friends. When he first moved here, I helped him get into a house, and because he was moving from Mobile and he was going to try Monroeville out for a little while, and because he got a job opportunity here, and he got to start talking to people, and he's like, whoa, man, everything you've been telling me, dude, I'm hearing this from, random people at work, so I mean, he's definitely, while the time that he was here, he did talk to people and, and share into their, disagreements and whatnot.
So we're coming to the end of our show. I want you guys to ask whatever questions we have not addressed about T. Tunstall. When it comes to T. Tunstall, here's some things. Let's wrap it up, because we want the citizens to get involved. There's some things they can do. Okay. Number one, we need to call APOSTC. They're the ones that manage these certificates of these officers, right? They can revoke or suspend them. Those certificates. Let's just say we make a complaint to APOSTC. Come to find out, these guys weren't even trained properly. Oh, that's a whole different can of worms, right?
There's always been a training issue with the cops here for a long time.
Now, when you say there's a training issue, what do you mean?
All right, like for instance, back up, we'll go ahead and take Larry Eichner for an example. When Tom Tate all them years ago got to be sheriff, all right, they gave Larry Eichner, all right, a gun and a badge and called him their investigator. Never been to law school. Never. He worked at Vanity Fair. He didn't know jack nothing on how to law dog or do anything, and they gave him a gun and a badge. I've witnessed the Monroeville Police Department give kids that aren't even 21 yet, they can't even own a gun, give them a squad car and a taser and say, good luck, buddy.
Really?
Yes. I've literally seen kids, not even 21, can't even own their pistol yet, all right, drive a squad car, all right, and have the authority to pull us over, write us tickets, and be a civil servant, all right. The good old boy club here is so deep, man. As soon as you get into any kind of power here, they call your friends, all right. Well, a lot of times these friends, they have no criminal justice training. They have definitely not anything in the law whatsoever. They flip burgers, or they're out in the field, or they worked on tractors, whatever. and their friends get in the office, and the next thing you know, they're like, hey, man, come on over here. And that's what you get. And with the Tom Tate administration, oh my God, I don't really know how too much of what's going on in Mandy's administration, how she's hiring and firing her officers. But I'm going to say this much. What we got here with Tunstall looks pretty bad. And then the fact that you let Michael Gibson, that was a jackwagon, had no idea what he's doing, run around terrorizing the community. I mean, I would think the training is pretty small or non-existent.
Well, we need to find out. We need to find out if these guys were qualified to even be out there. Honestly, we need to find out. That's the kind of stuff. But I want to bring this up because I think that it's time for us to get involved. This number here is where you call the Monroe County Courthouse for FOIA requests. You can ask for public records from the DA. I think that we need to start calling, making some phone calls. And then on the right side here, I have the SBI information. And I'm going to drop that right now into the show. This is the link to where you can go and fill out the online contact form where you can reach out to Aaliyah. Ask them about the case. Tell them you're interested. You want to know. Maybe that's what we got to start doing. We got to start calling them. They just put you on a telemarketer call. Oh, wow. Really? Really? Oh, really? My goodness. This is crazy.
That's terrible.
It is terrible.
How are you supposed to get anything done? Hey, real quick, there, Samantha, she asked me to bring up when Charles Andrews freaking refused to pay her to move after her house got shot up. If you would, my bad, not Samantha, Miss Mosley. That's right. Okay. That what they're talking about is there was a gunfight that went out in front of this lady's house, and the bullets hit the house, and Charles Andrews, man, forced her out of the house with the tenants that rented it to the woman. They had nothing to do with any of the shootout that happened, and Charles Andrews, through the owner of the home, canceled her rental policy, didn't pay her nothing, and kicked her out on the street. So not only did their house get shot up, all right, then they got forced out of it, and no one offered to give them a nickel.
Wow. So the mayor did that personally?
Yep. Well, he's the one who dictated that it happened. I mean, you got to keep in mind that the mayor says do this, and they jumped to his tune.
Okay. Listen, I knew that we were going to have a lot of information tonight. Stephan, you're going to have to come back to the Ella Johnson show. Like, you're going to just have to be a regular here. So this thing is over because it looks like we're in for the long haul. Who has the responsibility to do an autopsy when someone is found dead in their home?
That's going to boil down to the family, unless there was extenuating, if there was obviously a sign of struggle or there was something going on. Typically, autopsies don't get done as per se of what you think they do. When someone just dies in their house, if there wasn't already a question that there's something happened to them, the family would request the hospital and the mortuary to conduct an autopsy. Or the officers that found the person, if they saw, there was a bunch of pills sitting next to them, or, there was an injury, some type of struggle, then they'll ask for an autopsy. Autopsies don't just happen just because you die. Autopsies happen because the family requested it to happen, or the law enforcement that did the wellness check found the body, thought that, hey, there might be something hinky going on. You guys need to do an autopsy on this person because this could very well be a murder. All right, so just know that autopsies don't just happen. It's not like on TV. You don't just die and you automatically get an autopsy. The only time you ever get an autopsy is there's a request for one.
Oh, really? I thought that was an automatic thing when you die.
No, the only thing that's going to happen if you die of natural causes, there's nothing hinky going on. You passed away. You'll go to the mortuary and they'll pull your organs out. If you're an organ donor, You'll go to the hospital first, and they'll get your organs out or whatever you allowed them to take. But as far as an autopsy goes, autopsies don't just happen automatically. There has to be a request for one.
But how do you know it's natural causes unless you do an autopsy?
Well, that's all gets back to the freaking direction. Does the family ask for one because they think that there's something wrong that's happened, or an officer or paramedic or whoever found the person, says, "Hey, look, this looks something fishy going on here. We need to get blood work. We need to get an autopsy." So but now I will say this. Now I'll say soft autopsy. When someone does die, they take their blood. All right, they will take their blood, and it will get analyzed to see what was in their system. Where was their cholesterol high? So that way, when the coroner writes their report, they'll say, "Hey, this person died of a heart attack." If there's a reason to have to go that far. Because now keep in mind, when you do die, your organs are typically always pulled out of you. So just know that autopsies don't happen just automatically.
So this is an interesting question.
Oh wait, and insurance policies. If you have, life insurance policy, and your life insurance policy would direct that if you die, that there is an autopsy, but then that gets paid for by the insurance company.
Insurance policy,
so there are automatic autopsies, but that's done via that you have a life insurance policy that dictates that you need to have it done for your family to get paid.
Okay, gotcha. Now, we talked all night about how the police department avoids medical obligations. They don't want you to go to, in the hospital. But yet, T ended up at the hospital anyway. Right?
Yep.
So, who paid for that bill?
Well, to be honest with you, since they were in Monroeville Police Department's custody and that with their jurisdiction, all those hospital bills of all that care is going to go right back to the MPD.
Well, then they're idiots. They're complete idiots. Because if you're going to pay anyway, you could have done that from the beginning.
You would think.
Oh my God, I can't.
Now you're starting to see it how we see it here. Seriously, say that again. That's a mouthful.
What about the autopsy? Who's paying for that one?
The autopsy is going to get paid by the state because there's a possible criminal investigation that's going on. And SBI is involved, the state of Alabama is going to pay for the autopsy.
Do you think the autopsy is done?
Oh, most definitely. The autopsy's probably been done damn near a month ago, if not longer. Autopsy got done probably within the first 48 hours of his death. All right, or within probably bare minimum a week. They could have kept him, refrigerated for a little while and had him in queue. It just all depend on, how urgently they wanted to get it done. Sometimes people might sit, in refrigeration for a week, sometimes 2 weeks, before they have an autopsy. And it just all depends on what the rush order was with it. But I'm going to tell you right now, the reason why we haven't got anything back is because SBI has already got the autopsy. Everyone's already evaluating the circumstances. They're already formulating their narratives. This is the investigation. We're in investigation phase right now with SBI. Autopsy's been done a long time ago.
So who at this point, who all has seen it? Do you think?
I would think the DAs have seen it. I would think the DA has seen it. I would not doubt in a million years that Charles Andrews has seen it because he's directly involved with it. I wouldn't doubt that Mandy Armstrong. Is it Armstead or Armstrong? It's Armstrong.
Armstrong.
Right? Yeah, Mandy Armstrong. I would be flabbergasted that she hasn't seen it. And the investigators at SBI and ALEA, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, I'm sure their investigators have already seen it. And you also have to understand too that because of this video, all right. Whoever, I think it's the cousin that made the video. Thank you so much for making it and being with them and getting that video. Because Lord, we all know how it works down here on the bottom. If that video wasn't here, man, this already been swept all the way underneath the carpet. All liability, like nothing would have ever been happened. We wouldn't be having this conversation today. All this evil shit that goes on would have never been brought out. All right. So with that being said, know that because of the video, all right, and then whatever officers may or may not have had their body cameras on, or at least, because you got to keep in mind these Tahoes they have 360-degree cameras. And their new squad cars that have the cameras have 360-degree cameras. Whenever they trigger their takedown lights, it automatically activates the system. So even if there's loose, not well body camera footage, because maybe they shut it off, maybe they placed it in a car, maybe they didn't have it on them, because that'd be some bullshit, But with that being said, SBI is going to be looking heavily at this cousin's video, all right? Heavily at the cousin's video, and then look at the autopsy, because SBI, between the body camera footage, the Tahoe and the cruiser's takedown lights footage, is going to be looking at all that together and trying to figure out, and then look at standard operating procedure. All right, okay, tasers got deployed. What did these officers now do as per operating procedure when they deployed tasers? Did they render medical aid? No, they didn't. All right, did they do this? No, they didn't. Did they do that? No, they didn't. All right, and now that's where SBI is on that tight, and the DA's office is going to be on that real tightrope. Are we going to be looking at these officers and charging them with manslaughter, maybe even murder, all right, or just a complete gross negligency and turn it into a civil matter? That's where this whole scenario is so murky, because their investigations, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't see how any way that with the cops training, knowing that they need to provide, after medical care, all right, and evaluation after tasers are deployed, and then completely fail to do so. And then because of that complete disregard to the indifference of human life, this created a scenario where the man died, is, in my book, at least bare minimum manslaughter. And anybody else involved.
That was the question that Cam wanted to know. In your opinion, do you believe the autopsy reports manslaughter? What do you think the autopsy
100%.
Is it going to mirror what we saw in that video?
I'll say this much: if that man was tased, manslaughter all day long. If he wasn't tased, all right, we at least have freaking criminal negligence, all right. And I'm going to say criminal negligence, not just civil negligence, because the officer had a duty to protect and to administer life-saving aid, whether he had an overdose, he was worked up, having a heart attack, whatever, it doesn't matter. That the officers had a duty to protect, to be able to make sure that this individual was not having a chronic medical episode that, well, we could have died. And because they completely failed at all doing that, that is, on the other side of it, at the very bare minimum in the criminal threshold, is at least criminal neglect. So I do believe that with the video, if there are taser burns on them, the failure of everything that I've been talking about, I don't see why at all the officers wouldn't be charged with criminal manslaughter.
If they tased him and he died and they were negligent, I don't see how they're even working.
Right, and they shouldn't be working. They shouldn't be working whatsoever. And I mean, that goes back to, hey, the council is endangering the community with freaking cops that don't give a shit about us and don't care if we live or die. And I'm going to say that again, Charles Andrews. If this is the case, you're allowing officers that don't care whether we live or die run around with guns and bullets in them, all right, and think that they're going to give two shits about us out here on the street.
You're speaking to him as if you think he's watching.
Would you think if he ain't watching, someone's recording it for him? I wouldn't doubt that, man, by the time this episode's done, every single person in that council, all right, has listened to every single freaking word I've said.
And does that bother you?
Absolutely not. If anything, this is what you get and this is what you deserve. You wanted to mess with me for all these years, mess my family around, lose my children, stalk me, harass me, set me up 3 times. If I wasn't the person I am and know all the laws the way that I do to represent myself, to protect myself, I'd be like Johnny D. McMillan sitting in a penitentiary right now doing 25 to life. So yeah, I hope they do see every single word I said, because if they wouldn't have done what they've done to my family, I wouldn't have got so involved in my community. I would have just been another pencil pusher working at Winn-Dixie or whatever, not giving a crap about anybody else, but just what I need to do to take care of my family. I had to go down the bottom, all right, and dig through the trenches to be able to figure out everything about all you people so I could protect my family. That's what you created. they created me. It's like Frankenstein and the monster. They created this monster.
Do you think that the Attorney General should be involved in this?
110%. How could he
Why?
not? Well, we're looking at a wrongful death, all right, that's at the hands of an officer. And if what I'm saying has any highlight and puts any input into the investigation, which I hope it does, all right, the fact that the officers are trained to do the opposite of what they're supposed to be trained to do, all right, you as the Attorney General got to step in and handle it. You got to also understand is that when the DA presses charges, all right, against anybody and works any case, the Attorney General is their boss. So if anything the DAs do, period, inside that office, their mother connection is the Attorney General. So right. I don't see at all in a million years how the Attorney General could not be involved in this. I'm sure he's actually very involved in it.
So why wouldn't Mr. Andrews initiate an internal investigation? Like, why wouldn't he want to know that his police department is? I mean, like, you would think that he'd be interested in making sure they're not violating any of our constitutional rights.
Well,
you would think he'd want to know that.
Yeah, you think you would, but if you're the CEO, as you would like to say it, of our town, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the family, all right, knows that my officers completely killed him, all right? Yeah, no, of course not. That's why he's not being transparent. That's why he's not giving us any information. That's why he's not returning he's not returning our representatives' phone calls, man. All right? So, if
you saw that.
Yes.
You saw that show, right?
Okay. Yes. So, if there was nothing bad happen, all right, this is all on the up and up, all right? It's all cool. Why would you not want to talk to us? Why would you not want to talk to an elected official, one of our state representatives that wants to ask you what's going on, all right? And you're not even returning that guy's phone calls. You literally are cock blocking the entire nation on this. If you knew that you're screwed, that's what you would do.
And you think he thinks he's screwed?
Absolutely. There'd be no reason why they could be covering all this up. There'd be no reason to be blasé-ing it and acting like everything's okay. This is a very serious matter. This isn't, we just accidentally, bumped into this kid riding his bike. Police, was looking at his computer, mistake, or, we accidentally broke this man's arm when he was resisting. All right. No, they dragged a dying man down the block and threw him into a truck like a sack of potatoes and tried to pawn his body off on the dang freaking jail because they ain't got no medical insurance. Yeah, I would say that is a massive high gravity issue. And the fact that he's skirting away from it says a lot. Dude, what about them crickets I told you about?
Yeah, crickets. I definitely reached out, no response. I mean, I think that he discounts me because I don't live in Monroeville. So they're like, listen, we're not paying attention to her. We don't have to talk to her. And that's why we're going to keep having these shows. And we're going to keep bringing people on that want to talk about what's going on in Monroeville. So,
well, just know to the family. All right, there's a lot more that I can speak on privately. There's a lot more that I can testify to. All right, I can only say so much publicly.
That's right.
So I just want you to know that there are other things that are that are really bad for them, and those do not need to be said publicly. They need to be told to your attorney under witness deposition. So if your attorneys want to reach out to me and you would like me to meet with them and have a deposition, I'll be more than happy to speak on a lot of the other things that I know that are a direct route to what your case has got going on. All right, it's not just me huffing and puffing and this and that. No, there's a few really choice carrots that would really need to get down on paper as soon as possible. So as soon as your autopsy comes back and you're able to get the green light that you're able to sue these people, please get up with me with your attorneys immediately and set an appointment and let me get my words out there before they kill me.
And you say that do you say that lightly before they kill me? You're joking, right?
Well, they tried to kill me so many other times before and set me up. I mean, you kind of get numb to it. I mean, I got God. I mean, I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus Christ. God's got my back. If God didn't have my back, I wouldn't be able to be here talking to you and do what to do. I mean, hallelujah to Jesus. Thank you, Lord, and thank you, God. God's got me. But I mean, I'm a realist. I know what I'm going against. I've been already told by so many people already here recently that watch the freaking logs that I kick over. Me and my family might get wound up in a ditch. All right. So I'm talking to all of you under the I know that when I walk outside my house, I very well might catch a bullet. But I wouldn't be an American if I didn't go and speak what's wrong.
I think you and I have had enough conversations that we both agree that this is something that we have to do. We have to do this. We have to.
If it ain't done, no one else is going to do it.
Yeah, we have to do this. Well, last question I have here is, if you could name the top three people that you would say is most responsible for this tragedy, who would they be? And this is all alleged. This is just us conversating here about this. But who do you think they are?
The entire council, Mayor Andrews and Chief Mandy Armstrong, because they dictate policies that are completely outside of the regular nation standard operating procedure for law enforcement officers. And that's where it boils down to. It's not just one person. It's not just three people. It's the entire council that voted, all right, to not have medical insurance for the people they apprehend. All right. And then a top cop from Montgomery, mayor, that still allowed that activity and behavior to continue. So it's not just one, two, or three. It's a lot of them.
It's a lot of them. Well, I am going to do the thing that God has put on my heart. We're going to pray because we need God in this. Lord, I thank you for this show. I thank you for this platform. I thank you for giving me the courage to be able to tackle this subject and to bring people on to tell their stories. Lord, I want to especially pray right now for Stephan and his family. I pray that you cover them. I pray that you cover them with your love, your grace, your mercy. I pray that the angels are dispatched right now in the name of Jesus.
Yes, Lord.
To his household, to his cars,
yes, Lord.
Everything that he touches. Lord, I pray that you protect him and continue to give him wisdom. Give him courage to continue to fight for those who are less fortunate, to fight for those who can't stand up for themselves. Because you said in your word that when you do it for the least of them, we do it for you.
Yes,
we
Lord.
pray that you continue to bless this operation. Give people the love and the patience that they need to continue to go through. I especially pray for the family, the Tunstall family right now, Lord. I pray that you go to this grieving mother into her room right now, Lord, and comfort her heart. Pray for his grandmother, his children. Lord, I pray that you build us up and bring us to a place where we have the courage to take back the city of Monroeville. These and other blessings we ask in thy son Jesus' name. Amen.
In our son Jesus' name, amen. That's a good prayer. That touched me. I felt that one. Man, you sure you don't need to be a preacher now?
No, I'm sure. I'm sure. I think a talk show host is my calling. But
well,
listen, I love you, my
job.
friend. You know, you and I have had some conversations over the last 2 weeks, and I'm so glad that you agreed to come onto my show. This won't be the last time. I know this took a lot. I know it did. Because you had to go put the dog away and everything just to be here. This dog was going crazy early, guys. I said, oh, no, we got to do something about the dog.
Two of them. I got two big ones.
Yeah, we got to do something about the dog. Yeah. But I appreciate you, my friend. You're my brother from another mother. And thank you all so much, everybody, for tuning in to tonight's broadcast. Good show. More to come. Yeah, definitely. 1,000%. I pray, Lord, for Stephan's safety in Jesus' name and his family. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, you keep doing what you're doing, Stephan, because people appreciate you. They love you. And
I
I
love
see
them
how
too.
you have moved this thing. You've moved the goalpost, and I just want you to stay encouraged. And I see that you don't operate in fear. And I
I
think
can't.
that what we're doing, God is
God
going to
said
be
that
in
you
it.
shall walk through the valley of the shadow of the darkness, and you shall feel no evil. You can't fear evil to be able to do the works of the Lord. Or what are
That's
you
right.
doing the works for the Lord for?
That's right. Do you wish we'd have more people? Jeter Jane
But
Samantha says, God bless you guys. Stephan, I need to talk with you.
hit me up.
Yeah. Do you think that we should have more people involved in this? And if so, who? Who should we try to recruit to bring them in? Because God, thank you all so much. I appreciate the good show, good show, good show.
Let
I
me
want
think
y'all to
on that. Let me think
like
on
and
that.
share. Please do that. Like and share. Ella, continue let God lead you in Jesus' name. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate that, love. I appreciate that. Make sure your sins will find you out. Make sure your sins will find you out. Okay. Anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Other
You
than
have the
that,
last word.
for everyone that's supported me throughout all the years in the community and gives me love out there. I mean, I'm always out there at the grocery stores. I see so many of you every day, and I just want to thank all you, and to the officers that I've been able to make friends with that appreciate me, and I appreciate you. I just want everybody to know that this is a very unfortunate circumstances, but don't just hate the police. All right, there's good cops out there that do care for you. There are people out there that do care for us, but there are people out there that don't. And we're here talking about the people that don't. All right. So please, support your local law enforcement to a degree. I'm not saying that we could. Monroeville Police Department's kind of hard to support. All right. But we all know that there's some good ones out there, some real ones. Like Sergio, what up, dog? You a real one? All right. Just name one out there. Freaking. I mean, there's many, but I'm not going to keep those all their names, to the side. You all know who you are. All right. To the family, I'm sorry for what happened. I hope you get the justice that you deserve. And to everybody in Monroeville, y'all know where I'm at. If there's a way that we can band together and we could do something and I could be your voice, I've told all of you for so long, and that's why I do what I do, and I always have. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like you. So look, believe in Jesus, pray to God, go to bed knowing that God got all this and he's going to take care of all of it. There's nothing more that we need to do but put it in his hands because he got it. Amen.
All right. Listen, I appreciate all of you for saying great show. I appreciate it. We've been working on this for a while.
Love you, sweetie.
Kimberly Schiller, is that wife?
I love you, sweetie.
Wifey. All right. Look at her. She's loving on her boo.
Everybody over at the store's watching this on her phone.
Oh, I love it. Well, hello to all of you watching from the store. Thank you to all of you that are watching that didn't make comments here. Do me a favor, send stars, share the broadcast, help the Ella Johnson Show reach the level it needs to reach.
I would vote, but they disqualified me to vote. I went to try to go vote last week, and yes, they disqualified me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they do that to a lot of people. I'm not the only one.
So you were purged from the voting
records. I was purged from the voting records.
But I thought you had to be a felon. I mean, you
no. In the state of Alabama, you could be a felon and still vote. I am a felon. All right. I've already voted twice before. No problems. All right. The election before last, and then now this one, I've had to go back and forth. I got taken off the voters' rolls. I got myself put back on. All right. And then I voted for everyone I wanted to vote for. And now this election, I went to show up to go put my vote in. They took me back off again. I mean, I voted for many, many, many years. And then Bob McMillan decided to just remove me off the voter rolls. He got out of office because he sucks. And I went and got myself put back on. Now here we are again. Someone made the decision to remove me off the voter rolls. So trust me, Mr. Stabler, if I could vote, I totally would. I tried to.
He says he still votes. I vote with my speech. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, guys, that's what I vote with my speech.
I get you back on. Mitchell says he'll get you back on. I'm not sure when I'll go live again. My birthday is Thursday, guys. Thank God for seeing another year. So I'm not really sure when I will go live, but you guys will definitely be the first to know. Steven, you got to come back, my friend. We got to see this thing all the way through. Hopefully,
Hey,
soon
if I'm
we'll
not
be
dead
getting
or
some
in
kind of-
jail, I'm going to be here.
Say again?
I said, if I'm not dead or in jail, I'm going to be here.
All right, I like it. Well, you're going to be here because you're not going to be dead or in jail. We will overcome this. We will, right? We will. We will definitely do it. God is in it.
Yeah, I think all you
say
guys need
goodnight
to
to
stay
everyone.
away from me.
Yeah. I want to say good night to everyone. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Ella Johnson Show. We'll see you next time.
We are supporters of the Ella Johnson Show. We live in South Korea. We have been watching Ella Johnson Show for like a year now. And we love her show. Her show is very inspirational, motivational, and educational.
If you would like to be a guest on the Ella Johnson Show, send an email to theellajohnsonshow@gmail.com or send a text message to 407-334-6997.
We love Ella Johnson Show.